What's going on, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Saturday night, and tonight I've decided let's talk about some zombie films that aren't Romero's. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that me choosing to do this, I might be turning heel on a few of you tonight because I've already been threatened a couple of times. Um, Larry, I apologize, sir, but kind of like Hell of the Living Dead. Will it make my top 10? Who knows? We'll see. Little cliffhanger there. But yeah, I've already gotten a couple of threats for my list tonight, but so that's why I'm wearing the shades. A, I'm hungover and this bright light is very intense. But B, anytime anybody turns heel, they got to wear the shades, right? They got to look the part. They got to be the bad guy. So I'm going to be the bad guy tonight. I'm going to give you my top 10 non-Romero zombie films. My personal favorites. I'm not going down a list of saying this movie's better than this movie technically or whatnot. Like these are just my 10 favorite non-Romero zombie films. And some of them are, I'll admit, not very good. Um, but for one reason or another, I love them. I enjoy them. Um, and a couple of them nobody really ever talks about. So I kind of want to just, talk about it a little bit. And if you haven't seen them, check them out. You're getting an official recommendation. I don't know how long I'm gonna wear these sunglasses though, because I can't hardly see shit, but we'll see what happens. Let's see who's in the house tonight. Joseph Henry Luckenbill, what's up, man? That's a killer name. Big fan of that name. Larry, I appreciate it, man. Uh, it is what it is. I don't spoiler alert, but it's a fucking shitty movie, but man, is it fun? It's Vincent Dawn's masterpiece. Zed of the Dead, what's up? Watching Return, getting ready for tonight. Yeah, that's possibly good chance that might make the list. Grande, what's up, man? I'm glad you got that poster I sent to you. When the moon turns red, the dead shall rise and walk the earth. Again, I might be turning heel tonight. We'll see. Matt Landrum, what's up, man? Another guy who has threatened me already for doing this list. We'll see. We'll see if we're still friends after this list tonight, man. Forever Gray, yep, the opening song tonight. I'm kind of trying to get in the habit of doing that. I've been listening to a lot of stuff here lately, and um, I don't know. It kind of gets me pumped for the show and here's certain songs, certain music. So, but that's a new game I'm going to play every week. It's like, can Matt name the band that opens the show? So far, you're 2 for 2. Let's see. Synth Addict, what's up, man? We'll have planning on having Synth on the stream next weekend. Gonna talk to him, get to know him, get his backstory, his origin story. How did he become a Romero fan like the rest of us, or a psychotic Romero fan like the rest of us? And Synth knows his shit, man. So I'm really looking forward to talking to him, and it should be a good show next week. Ritual Halls, I haven't listened to them, but I wrote it down as soon as you as soon as you mentioned it. So far, showing our very similar taste in music. I'll probably bet a guess that I'm probably gonna dig it, but I'll let you know. It may be the opening track to next week's show. Zed of the Dead says it will take flesh and blood from thee and turn all ye unto evil. Lobby dog. What that was from. Will, what's up, man? Good to see you in here. Had a lot of fun with you in Pittsburgh and on the stream last week talking about our trip to Pittsburgh. Definitely going to get you back on the show sooner rather than later. But yeah, too cool for school, man. Like I said, I might be turning heel on some folks tonight. I might be losing some subscribers with my choices for the top 10, my personal favorite top 10 non-Romero zombie films. But we'll see what happens. There we go. Yeah, if it'll work. There we go. Oh, a little sticky. Grande says New World Order of Alpha, brother. That's right, man. It's the New World Organization. I love when Hulk Hogan did that. He first said New World Organization instead of New World Order, but I don't think anybody cares. Let's see. You remind me of Blue Heart from Zombie 3 with your shades. Hey, that's one that might end up on the list tonight. So if that gives you any indication of what this list is going to look like by the end of the stream, yeah, just so you know, Hell of the Living Dead is a great goblin composite score in the lines. I'm a tit man myself. What is there not to love? I'd love to get Larry's deep thoughts on Hell of the Living Dead. What is there not to love about Hell of the Living Dead? It's completely retarded. Like it's a blatant 100% rip off of Dawn of the Dead to the point where Bruno Mattei changed his name in the credits as directed by Vincent Dawn. So I mean, come on. But yeah, and just completely blatantly rip off the Goblin score too. I got some folks saying, "Hey, hey, hey." Zed says, "Return, Zombie, Shaun of the Dead, my non-Romero Rushmore, and does Demons count?" Demons is an interesting one. Um, to me, honestly, I do see it as a zombie film. To me, like zombie films, and we'll talk about this as we get through the list here. But to me, a zombie film really it has to do maybe 10% of the fact that there's zombies in it. In my opinion, I didn't put Demons on my list, although if I did count it as a zombie film, I would. But in my head, I do kind of consider Demons 2 as zombie films. They're kind of in the same realm, um but yeah, to me, like a zombie film is more about the atmosphere and the world in upheaval and stuff like that. And definitely by the end of Demons, we do have that the world is in upheaval and whatnot. Will, you need a woo? Let's see. Woo! All right, let's get it. I'm gonna have tickies off though because they're can't really see the comments. It's not gonna be easy. What's up, John? John Vulo in the house. Zombie 4. That's an interesting. I've never been a huge fan of Zombie. I love Zombie 3 for a lot of the same reasons that I'm a fan of Hell of the Living Dead. But Zombie 4, I've only seen it like maybe once, maybe twice. So that's one I have to go back. But that's an interesting one. And that's one that the Dead Pit guys, they were doing like a ranking of zombie films on a stream here recently. And they put Zombie 4 higher than Zombie 3. I think they put Zombie 3 down in the very bottom of the barrel. So I mean, it's not that hard to do, but um, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go back and check that one out. Um, do the shades removal with a quip like Caruso. Yeah, maybe I'll do that when I finally take these fucking things off. Since as Demons is a possession film like Wreck. Yeah, I would say yeah, it's like a possession zombie film in my opinion. Zombie Grease, what's up, man? Good to see you in here. First time in a while. That's OG Alpha Romero supporter right there. Zombie Grease, good to see you, man. I really appreciate you stopping in. I see a buddy zombie film with Rhodes from Day and Merle from The Walking Dead. That would be interesting. Anything with Rhodes, and it would be interesting for me. Said you watch Wreck. That's one that I considered because I remember it's been a while since I've seen that movie, but that's one that when I remember watching it, I was really impressed with it, but didn't make my top 10. And like I said, it's personal favorites. I'm not saying that probably half of these are as good of horror films as Wreck, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd like some healthy debate in here tonight. John says, "Oh, it sucks." Okay, I had to pick something obscure. One of the few films I turned off. Yeah, okay. I was curious. I was like, I totally, I respect your taste in zombie flicks and movies and horror films, and I was like, wow, John's in Zombie 4. Okay, maybe I need to give that one another watch. McHorror, what's up? Good to see you in here with the awesome. What would you call that? Avatar, I guess is what they call it. What's up, man? Good to see you. A couple things I wanted to. I don't even know if I want to go through this. To be honest with you, I might just want to get through the list. I have a feeling it's going to piss me off. But there is a little bit of news in the Romero universe that we could talk about. But like I said, I don't want to. I don't want to start off on the wrong foot and just get myself pissed off about something. Especially, So I was debating on coming on here and because I haven't read anything about this yet, other than just the basic idea of what it is. But it's apparently Tina Romero, George's daughter, is making her own zombie film called Queens of the Dead. And I just know that it's look, Tina, I've never met her, but Tina seems like the sweetest fucking person in the world in interviews and stuff that she's done over with the Garf and all that. Like, she seems like the nicest person in the world. Do I want to see a Tina Romero zombie film? No, I don't. I don't want to say I'm kind of burned out on zombie films in general anymore. Like there are very few that I see, especially nowadays, newer zombie films that I'm just like, wow, that was killer. Like there's maybe one on my list that's come out in the past 5 years that I truly love, and I can't wait to talk about it because just rewatched it again last night for the first time, or not for the first time, but for the first time in a while. So I don't know if I really want to go into the details of this right now because I'm kind of I'm okay. Yeah, I'm healing it up a little bit tonight with the shades, but yeah, maybe at the end of the show maybe we'll go through it because there's a whole article here from Fangoria. I haven't read any of it. I was going to do it live here on the stream. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys want to talk about this? Is this something you guys are interested in? I don't know how much you guys have heard about it, but like I said, I haven't really heard too much about it. I have heard like kind of the basic idea of what it is. Shit's running really slow. Maybe about time to clean out this computer. I got so much shit backed up on this computer. All right, what are you guys saying? Some Grease says, I love the way Fulci goes all historical and the voodoo stuff and zombie, the Spanish conquistadors rising from the grave. Yeah, that's one that I think there's a pretty good chance might show up on the list tonight. Can't even remember Zombie 4, another Philippines location film. Yeah, I think Bruno Mattei pretty much did everything in the Philippines after 1990 or something like that. Everything was Filipino based. Flesh Eater, Burial Ground, Redneck Zombies, and Video Dead. I rented consistently as a kid. All deserve a place on the list. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Flesh Eater is an interesting choice. Redneck Zombies I haven't seen in a really long time. Video Dead is one that I've been requested by Cressy777 to watch, and that was I will check that out because from what I've read, it does seem interesting. Zombie says his daughter is left of center, not my taste at all. Yeah, I mean, George was too. I mean, especially by the end of, towards the end of his life, he was, by all accounts, kind of that old man cussing at TV, watching CNN all day, according to Suze. I mean, that's just kind of what Suze has said. But yeah, she's definitely left of center, to put it lightly. Let's see, Grande says The Battery, I think, is the best modern zombie movie. That's one I still need to see. I remember you doing a review of that or something on your channel months ago, and I wrote it down, and I just haven't tracked it down yet. But I have heard a few other people talk about it and really praise it. That's one I definitely need to check out. Matt says he's not particularly interested in talking about Queens of the Dead. Okay, yeah, I just don't. Yeah, since he's only heard of it, no really info. New name here, Sean. Sean Scarred God Sikowski. That's a kick-ass name. Now you need the fucking heel shades, man. That's a heel name if I've ever heard one. I just joined in. Hope I'm not too late. No, sir. We're just getting started. About 20 minutes in. Appreciate you stopping by. And I fucking love that name. I might steal that. That might be my next YouTube channel. Paul Brooks, what's up, man? I saw casting info for her film at the Garf booth at Monroeville. I'm happy to give it a shot when it comes out. Okay, so there's some open minds, and I would love to be more open minded about this stuff. But man, I think I might be scarred for life after watching that Twilight. Not Twilight. What the fuck? That's the one that was supposed to be coming out that has disappeared off the face of the earth. What the fuck was that shitty movie called? Festival of the Living Dead. I tried to give that a shot, and I had every intention of watching it and coming on here and talking about it and giving like a fair review and giving but after I watched it, I didn't even want to fucking talk about that movie. I was just like, this isn't even worth my time to talk about. So another thing in that vein, because that was supposed to be like a direct sequel to Night of the Living Dead, and holy shit, like that was, yeah, I wouldn't. I don't even want to talk about it because I just kind of want it to go away, and I'm kind of at that point now with a lot of shit. Um, Severed Force of the Dead. It's one I don't think I've seen before. Sean, Nightmare City is awesome, if not yet mentioned. It hasn't been mentioned yet, but stay tuned. Stay tuned. Let's see. New name, Bonnie Bailey. What's up? Good to see you in here. Video Dead is fun. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard about it. But glad you stopped in. I'm definitely willing to check it out. I think I heard that it's on Tubi or Tubi. What the fuck did I Tubi? A little tired, guys. Apologies. Zombie Lake is a wacky one. Yeah, that might be on the list. Festival of the Living Dead, bad, not good, bad. Yeah, there's some good bad on my list tonight, in my opinion. Good bad, but yeah, Festival of the Living Dead is just like bad, like it's shit coated in shit type of bad. So yeah, let's stop talking about it. Hopefully, none of you guys rush out to your local Tubi and watch that anytime soon. But yeah, let's. I might come back to that Queens of the Dead shit because I am somewhat morbidly curious about what the hell it is. Um, and you know what, like, if she, Tina wants to use the Romero name to kind of make her own movie, like she's not a filmmaker first and foremost. Like that's a big thing for me. It's like if you're not a film, it's like when I hear people all the time are like, "Oh, this dude made this feature film, and it's his first feature film, and he started on YouTube." I'm on YouTube. What the hell? There's nothing wrong with making content for YouTube, but being a content creator or whatever they call it for YouTube and being a filmmaker and making a film is two completely different things. And I don't think Tina's really done anything. So I don't know. I don't know if she's directing it or just producing it. I don't know. Maybe we'll read the fucking news and find out, and I'll form more of a educated opinion on it. Um, so yeah. All right. I say we go ahead and get into this list because I might go on for a little bit about some of these titles. Unless anybody else has any comments or any farewell or any more warnings that anybody wants to throw my way about what may or may not be on the list. Um, Thanks, Will. Maybe I should take his sunglasses off. Will texted me something about my appearance tonight. I don't know about it, man. All right. You guys ready to get into this list? Let me got it all written down here. We'll see. I guess so, because you guys are kind of beating me to the punch here. It says Living Dead at Manchester Morgue is great. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things is a little more obscure but very creepy. I'm a big fan of I'll go ahead and say that the Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, not Children of the Living Dead, by God, no. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things almost made the cut. That's one that I grew up a big fan of. I just have not seen it in a really long time. That's one I need to catch up on. But I bought the Anchor Bay VHS from a Kroger for like $3 or something back in the day. Yeah, didn't quite make the list. Yeah, Manchester Morgue for sure. Yeah, I think you guys kind of beat me to the punch here. So we'll go ahead and get into it. Number 10. This is the top 10. Take this fucking shit off. What up, guys? All right, now I can see what the hell I'm looking at. God damn, this light's bright though. That's a big change. Going from the shades to I might just keep the shades on from now on. God, you don't realize how bright this shit is. All right, I can kind of see a little better now. All right, let's get into it. Let me pull it up here. All right, number 10. Top 10 non-Romero zombie films. In my opinion, my favorite top 10, personal top 10. Coming in at number 10, the aforementioned Living Dead at Manchester Morgue from 1974. Right here. This is one that I didn't discover until a little bit later on in life. Like a lot of these are movies that I first saw and first discovered at a young age, teenage years, tween years even. This is one I didn't watch until a few years ago. It's one that was always kind of off my radar. Like it's also the alternate title for this thing is "Let Sleeping Corpses Lie." I've heard a lot of people refer to it as that. I call it Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. I just think that sounds cooler to me. But yeah, it's one that I didn't discover until a little bit later on in life. And when I first watched it, I was blown away. Like I was just I was like, man, this is so ahead of its time. And we're talking 1974, 6 years after Night of the Living Dead, uh, 4 years before Dawn of the Dead, and there's so much about this film in particular that was ahead of its time. Like in terms of the gore, like there's the intestines. You see the zombies, tearing people apart in this, and it's in color, and real bloody, and it's like the first time a lot of the gore effects and stuff. There's a lot of the first time that a lot of people had ever seen anything like that, really. Of course, there was some gore and Night of the Living Dead and whatnot, but it's black and white and just not quite the same thing. But yeah, the first time I saw it, I was just it just has a really weird vibe to me. Um, it's made by I get it mixed up. So it's Italian made, but they shot it in the UK, I believe. So it's got this weird like mix of like an Italian giallo. Like it feels like that to me at times. It's got the detective looking for um, trying to solve the crime and all that, but it has like this weird giallo zombie vibe to it. Um, and that's really the biggest takeaway that I have from it. I mean, it's a really entertaining film. It's really well made, really well done. But I think the thing that puts it over the top for me um, is just the atmosphere that it creates. It's such a weird atmosphere. Um, like I said, it feels Italian, but at the same time, it feels British. Because to me, British films all have kind of the same feel, like especially from back in the 70s, 60s, 70s. Um, they all have their own kind of flavor, and so yeah, this is one that I've probably seen the least out of all of these on my list. But it's one that when I did watch it, I was immediately like, I gotta fucking own this. I need to learn more about it. I need to watch it more, and that's why I ended up picking up that 4K version. I already had the Blu-ray, which actually I think I gave to Will because he had never seen it. I was like, dude, you got to watch Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. Like it's a trip. It's really out there. And like I said, the best way that I can describe it, it's kind of it feels like a zombie giallo in a way. I don't know how to explain it. Like one of those like early 70s, Italian uh, crime films or something on top of like zombies and all this other shit. It's just very, very, very cool. Very, like I said, it's the atmosphere of the film that'll draw you in, and very ahead of its time. Um, uh, let's see. Yeah. Okay. So Will's saying he's never seen it. Yeah. Yeah. Now you have an opportunity to see it. Let's check it out when you can. Let's see. Since says that's a fun one. Um, I don't know, I missed a couple. Uh, Okay, yes. Okay, Grande says, "Wow, surprisingly low, but stoked it made the list." That would be my number one. I mean, if I did this list, like after I give this movie a couple more viewings, it might climb the ladder. It might, climb up the list a little bit. But as of the movies that I have on this top 10, like this is the one that I've seen the least. It's the one I really know the least about. Um, but it's one that it's an older title that I just got to here recently that really stuck with me and really was like, okay, I gotta own this. Like this is a must have. So maybe if I revise this list a couple of years from now, maybe it'll be different. We'll see. Hell yeah, let sleeping corpses lie. See, like I feel like I've heard that title before. Like I feel like I've seen that title in video stores when I was younger. Because I think that's kind of what it was mostly known as over here in the US. Um, Here we go. Grande says it has the most alternate titles ever, I think, with 16 different titles, including Don't Open the Window. Wow, I did not know that. All right. Don't Open the Window. That's an interesting title for it. Yeah. Robert said, Don't Look Out the Window. Okay. Okay. I'll have to look up all those titles. I'm kind of curious to see how something can have 16 fucking titles. Yes, Don't Open the Window was one of the titles. So bad. Since this Blood Feast 63 was really early color gore and sort of slasher film. Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of the Herschel Gordon Lewis stuff was predated it, but in terms of like a mainstream, like I mean, Living Dead in Manchester Morgue, I don't think was like a a big blockbuster hit or anything like that. But in terms of a more mainstream title, um, it was kind of ahead of its time in that way. Right, it says Christine Galbo is in it as one of the leads, and she shot it like 2 days after her husband died in real life. Her performance is astonishing considering circumstances. Okay, yeah, I'm totally gonna go back. I'm digging the info here from Grande. Great atmosphere, says Sean. I always considered this the bastard cousin between Night and Dawn. It's such a gem. I could see that. I could see that. I just think like the atmosphere of it is completely different than any other zombie film that I think I've ever seen. Like everything's kind of, it's either Romero-esque or the Italian zombie, like because it doesn't even feel like an Italian zombie movie to me at all. Um, it's just something completely fucking different. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie had a great 10 DVD set. Anchor Bay, I regret not owning it. Yeah, I've heard of that. Definitely heard of that in the past. So Robert wants to know about what about 1990 since Savini directed, not George. I do consider that a Romero zombie film because he did write it. It's his script, and it's kind of in the same universe as Romero's films. So it doesn't make my list, but it's only because if I did include it, it would definitely be on the list. But I do consider it a Romero zombie film, even though he didn't direct it. But um, yeah, the agricultural horror angle, I do. I thought that was interesting, kind of that weird sound that fucking machine makes. Um, I think there's a trailer for Don't Open the Windows on the DVD. Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, like I said, this is one. It's at number 10 on my list, just for the simple fact that it's one that I've seen the least. I know the least about. It's one that I'm going to revisit probably quite a few times over the next few years. And like I said, it may climb my list. It beat out. I'll tell you this. It beat out a. It was between this for the number 10 spot. It was between this and a very beloved and uh, zombie film that I don't want to spoil anything. We'll talk about it at the end, but and this one beat that one out just because I thought there's more on the bone of this one in my opinion. So Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, number 10 on my top 10 non-Romero zombie films. Now we're about to get really fucking weird, and I would not be surprised if some of you never talk to me again. This is one I don't know how many of you have even seen. It's one that I remember renting back when it came out because the cover, and I remember reading good things about it. Like if people were like, "Oh wow, this is really good shit. Like horror is back, zombies are back." It came out in the year 2000. Um, I'll go ahead and tell you from Full Moon Pictures. It is The Dead Hate the Living. Bring on the heat. Anybody that's seen this movie, I don't hardly ever hear anybody really talk about this movie, but when they do, it's usually like, oh yeah, that piece of shit from back in the day. That Full Moon Pictures. Some people love them, some people hate them. But this is one that I remember renting and watching over and over back in the day. And I rewatched it. It had been a long time since I had watched it. I was like, well, maybe do I want to put this on my top 10 list? It's not a classic. It's not the greatest zombie movie ever made. But it's one that I have fond memories of. It's one that I have fun watching. Or at least I remembered having fun watching it. I put it on last night to watch it again. Number one, I'll admit, first and foremost, it's very, very low budget. Very, very low budget. Some of the effects in this thing are, especially the visual effects, like the digital effects, are laughably bad. I'll go ahead and tell you, like it's pretty fucking bad, even for 2000. But watching it again last night, I found myself still loving this fucking movie just because the big reason is the characters. It just feels like that time period, the late 90s, the early 2000s. A time period that I'm very nostalgic for because that was kind of my era as a child. That's when I first started to discover all these movies and everything. And this was one that I remember renting multiple times and loving it. I loved the cover of it because it looked like the Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. And I was like, holy shit, is that the Nemesis? Like, this has got to be cool. And it says right here from Tom Savini of Dawn of the Dead. Unique. It's the one like quote they could put on this thing that anybody said. Tom Savini just said, he probably said it this way too. He's probably like, it's unique, I guess. So they just cut the unique part out and put that on there. Um, but the thing I love most about this movie, though, in particular, yes, it's a little corny. It's not. It's low budget. It's cheap. It's not a classic. But I will say the performances by I would say like 90% of the people in this movie, they're endearing. You like the characters. It's basically a movie about this group of filmmakers. This guy's wanted to direct a zombie film or a horror film his entire life. They get together in this abandoned, I guess it's like a sanitarium or a mental hospital, like an abandoned mental hospital or something like that, and they're working on this zombie film. They're making this movie. And through the course of this, they discover that there's a portal that will bring the dead back to life and the whole thing, you know. Um, so there's this group of like this film, you know, filmmakers, cast, sound guy, the effects guy, and they play off each other so well. And you know the relationships between all the characters, like the two sisters and the brother. The brother's the director, and he's best friends with the guy who's doing the effects. And he says, you know, in the movie, it's like, oh, we're gonna be the next Romero and Savini. Like as a 13-year-old or however old I was when I first watched this movie, like watching a movie about people that loved horror movies, like it's totally done to death now. But back then you didn't see it that much. I mean, you probably started to see it a little bit in Scream, in the late 90s where old, you know, old horror movies are starting to be referenced, but you get that in a boatload in The Dead Hate the Living. A lot of references to Fulci, Romero references, John Carpenter references. I mean, and you like these characters. They're likable. They're well acted. I mean, the acting, and then it's just like I said, about 90% of the actors are really they do a really really fucking good job for a like no budget. I mean, this movie's so fucking low budget. There are like 5 different shots in this movie where you can see the boom mic will just pop into frame, and it's like, whatever, you know. But you know, it to me it just feels a like a haunted house or something, you know, like a haunted house you'd go to with your friends, you know, and it's one of those extreme haunted houses or whatever. And I know people shit on it because it's got the main villain in it is looks just like Rob Zombie, so it's like, oh, it's that fucking cheap ass zombie movie with Rob Zombie in it. But I don't know. I've always had an affinity for this movie. I've always really liked this movie. It's one that I grew up watching over and over again, and I went back and rewatched it last night to make sure that my brain wasn't just fogged with nostalgia, which it is a little bit. I mean, a lot of it is. A lot of these titles are nostalgia to me. Um, but I watched it last night. And I was like, you know, I do enjoy like the final. I will say the final 10 minutes of the movie, the effects are so bad that it is distracting, and you're just kind of like, eesh, that's a bad way to end it. But really, everything else, I mean, they do a really good job of portraying, you know, a group of people getting together to make a horror film. Um, so I don't know. Number 9, Dead Hate the Living, Full Moon Pictures, directed by Dave Parker, who I don't think went on to do too damn much after this. Um, but it's one I've always really enjoyed. So I don't know what you guys are saying right now. We're gonna go and check it out and see what you guys are saying. Maybe I want to put the shades back on because I think I might be. This is the portion of the show where I start turning heel on everyone. I apologize in advance, but I gotta let it out. Grande says, "Oh, this is a knuckleball. I like this one." Okay, so Grande's okay with it. Okay, so that's one good one on my side so far. Know it, never seen it. Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of people. I mean, that's a lot. You know, not a hugely distributed movie or really talked about years after the fact, but it's one that I remember renting and liking a whole lot back in the day. Since has only heard about it, never saw it. Okay, so when you guys do check it out, come back on another stream and let me know what you think. So if you watch between now and then, let me know what you think next weekend. Silver and Night of the Creeps are classic. Feeding the Masses from 2005 is one I'm like, I don't know if I've seen that one. Night of the Creeps is a good one too. That almost made me laugh. And that's one, like I said, I just now recently saw for the first time. So maybe if I revise this list after watching it a few more times over the next few years, that might make it. But Um, okay. Robert says, I love The Dead Hate the Living. It has Tiny from, yeah, that's right. Matthew McGrory. Tiny is in it as one of the zombie henchmen which is kind of funny because, I mean, he did go on to work with Rob Zombie, but he's in the movie where everybody thinks it is Rob Zombie. But it has Devil's Rejects and is a love letter to all gore hounds and zombie fanatics and low budget cinema fans. 100%. I think that's a perfect way to put that, Robert. It is a love letter to all gore hounds and zombie fanatics and low budget cinema fans. 100%. I think that hits the nail on the head. Let's see, Steven Fernandez, good to see you. What's up, man? Never saw it. I'm going to check it out. I really like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. It was sort of campy zombie and Evil Dead influences kind of movie. One sec. Okay. Got a loud ass dog in here. But yeah, highly recommend checking it out. And like I said, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. That's another one that I really, really dig. Mayor, what's up, man? Dead Hate the Living has a great soundtrack. Yeah, it definitely has a good, like I said, it perfectly like captures that late 90s, early 2000s vibe, just the characters and the clothing and um good times back then. Yeah, they want to be the next Romero Savini, they said. Yeah, I mean that's, and like I said, I mean this was 2000. I mean we didn't have all these movies that were, you know, full of references and pop culture stuff like that. So back when you're younger and you see a movie where they're talking about all these people that you know and love, you're like, hell yeah, like I identify with these people. So brilliantly done. Mayor says if Vinegar Syndrome or Seven release Dead Hate the Living on Blu-ray or 4K, the haters will be scooping it up. Well, it's a Full Moon. I don't know if Full Moon really do they really. I don't know. Do they do their own releases or do they work with another company? I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple on this list. The next one for sure. I mean, if Vinegar Syndrome get their fucking paws on this next one, they're going to be putting this in a really really nice package and selling it for $80. So it's one that I don't know how many of you guys have seen either, but well, I got you. But yeah, that's a good point. The asbestos shades. Grande says, "Bro, you could turn heel, but I'll always support." Thank you, sir. Unless you have something like Zombie Diaries on here, Day of the Dead 2 Contagion, I won't support. Okay. Well, although Synth did mention he just watched Zombie Diaries series, and I remember thinking the Zombie Diaries was okay. I've only seen it once back when it came out. Um, but it did make my list. I'll go ahead and spoil that for you. So you're safe for now, or at least I'm safe for now. I don't, I haven't looked out the window yet, but I don't know if there's, people with pitchforks out there and torches or not. Will Phelps says Species is the best franchise from Full Moon. I could have guessed you said that, but you said they do their own releases. Okay. Oh yeah, I wonder why they haven't put that out then on Blu-ray yet. Because as far as I know, the only way to watch this or get Dead Hate the Living is on DVD. So I'm surprised they haven't put that on a Blu-ray yet. Let's see what happens. Amen to this. Anything with a slipcase will get scooped up. 100%. The Dead from the Ford Brothers. Yeah, this one you talk about a lot is one that I love. It takes the genre seriously and very rare. That's one I remember watching and really liking too. Didn't make my list, but I will say I did enjoy that one as well. I know there's a sequel I have not seen yet though. And then the mayor says I bought Dead Hate the Living for $1 at the Dollar Tree. I already liked the movie before, so it's a great score. Yeah, that's crazy. You, God, I hear people say that shit all the time. I found this at the Dollar Tree for $1. I go to the Dollar Tree. There's fucking nothing there. Like it's just like the plain plastic cases with like discs in them. And I thought I scored when I found this. I think I was $8 or something like this used at the local record shop here called Atmosphere Collectibles. I give them a quick shout out. They're really killer. The owners are super cool too. So if you're ever in Evansville and you're a collector of vinyl or VHS or anything really, I mean, they kind of have everything. Atmosphere Collectibles down on Stringtown Road. Check them out. Okay, so far we got number 10, Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. Number 9, The Dead Hate the Living from 2000. Now this one's going to be an interesting one. Number 8 on my list And I'll go ahead and I'll admit this is a horrendously bad movie. It's one that I don't know of too many people that have seen it, but it's one that I rented. I remember renting this movie. There was a little video store in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, where I grew up. Little video store called Movies Plus. And it was down near, it was right next to the Food Lion. Um, Not that any of you really know where the fucking Food Lion in Hopkinsville is, but just for my reference in my own head. Movies Plus down by the Food Lion. We'd go. They never really had much. They were more of a tanning place. It was mostly a tanning spot for a lot of people. But every now and then we'd go in there, and maybe they had something cool. One night we went in there, I found a fucking treasure. And I did not expect. So back then, like, I would watch anything that had to do with zombies. I was just wholehearted, like anything that had zombies. So I come across this DVD for rent. This isn't the name of the movie, but the DVD is called Zombie Doom. The Army of the Dead Shall Devour the Living. And on this, there's a bonus feature, an extra film that this filmmaker did previously. I think I popped in the Zombie Doom. I think I watched the Zombie Doom movie first, or whatever the hell it was called. I don't even know. I don't remember anything about it. Watched it for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is so bad, I can't watch it. I was like, well, let me check out this extra movie that's on there. Maybe it'll be better. And then I proceeded to have one of the best nights of my life. It was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I've never laughed as hard at any movie ever in the history of film. And that's why it is making my list at number 8. And that is Zombie 90, Extreme Pestilence from 1990. If you've seen this movie, you will understand. And I'm telling you, at 14, 15 years old or whatever it was when I first saw this, I'd never seen anything like it. It was the funniest goddamn movie I've ever seen in my life. Still to this day, I was watching it a little bit earlier because I made a clip here to kind of demonstrate, because I feel like a lot of people probably haven't seen it. So I'm going to show a clip of the movie to kind of demonstrate, because I can't describe this fucking thing and convey it to any of you to understand what it is or why it's as funny as it is. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's just me and but anybody I've ever showed, this is one of those movies that as soon as it was over, I watched it again and laughed again. Anybody that I knew that liked horror movies, zombie movies, whatever, I made them watch it, and we all laughed. And this is the perfect movie to watch if you're at a party getting shit-faced and you guys just want to huddle around the TV and laugh your fucking asses off for 60 minutes or whatever this movie is. It really doesn't matter. But Zombie 90. So I'm going to show a little clip here to kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about and why this movie is on my list of my top 10 all-time favorite zombie films, because to me, it's the greatest comedy ever made. So this may get me kicked off YouTube. We'll see. But let's take a chance, as they say. So it's about 2 minutes, so enjoy. This is Zombie 90, Extreme Pestilence, number 8.
Simon, I'll help you. Get out of here, you zombie-looking damn bitch cake. Simon, are you all right? You never be using this again anyway. Brian, you saved me. Thanks. Now I'm gonna run this motherfucker's dick over.
Oh my god. I'm gonna run this motherfucker's dick over. Let's read the comments. Yeah, I'm out of my fucking mind, guys. I'm telling you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Mayor says he's heard of a food line, so there's that. All right. Okay, Robert's seen Zombie 90s. Fucking crazy. Yeah, it's German or something, but the overdubbing is the best part because it's like two guys to overdub everybody in the entire movie, including what sounds like an older black man and I don't even know what, but oh my god, I'm gonna run that motherfucker's dick over. Kind of rings a bell, but never seen. Well, now you've seen a bit. You've had your appetites wetted, or wetted, or whatever the fuck they call it. Never seen this. I got to add it to the watch list. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's probably the worst movie ever made, but it's so fucking hilarious. Don't ruffle my jacket. Oh, I'm so glad you've seen it, Robert. Because there's like 5 people in my entire life. I've made my sister watch it. I made my cousin Justin watch it, and that's one of those movies that we can quote. Like anytime me and my cousin see each other, it's like, "Don't bleed on my car now." I should probably stop doing that accent or whatever, that impression. I might get canceled. I'm doing an impression of the guy from the movie, so so but yeah, a lot of people are saying they've never seen it. Maris has never seen it, but it sounds like something Dead Pit Boys need to do. I've mentioned it a couple of times to those guys, and they're just like, eh. So I don't know. Yeah, Mayor, that was a zombie wiener. I cut another portion of that scene out because I didn't want to stretch, the bounds of what I can do on YouTube. But yeah, there was a reason why yeah, here's another. Yeah, they cut that girl from her badge, kind of terrified. Just yeah. Oh yeah, it's way this Zombie 90 is way better than Terrifier. Any of the Terrifiers. Mernsey would cream his pants if he saw this. I'm telling you, you got to check it out. I think I've seen it. There's I forget the company that did it. I want to say, fuck, who put that out? There's a compilation Blu-ray that's out right now. It's called Violent Shit, which is kind of I don't know, the theme or whatever of a lot of these movies. That this guy it's like Andreas Schnaas, I believe is how you pronounce it, is the guy that directed this movie. But it's all like there's a compilation of all this stuff that he did on this Blu-ray called Violent Shit. I want to say maybe Blue Underground put it out. I want to say, but Zombie 90 is included on that. So if that's something you want to pick up, maybe next time there's a sale or something like that. Because I remember it was pretty cheap. I only own this original DVD, and this is the DVD that I rented from that video store, Movies Plus, next to the Food Line. This is it, because when that place was going out of business, like I went and they had it for sale. It was like $2 or something like that. I was like, fucking holy grail, yes, this is mine forever now. I mean, this thing is beat to shit too, because this is one of those video stores where they just put a sticker on the cover and like hand it to you with, because a lot of video stores have the the plain boxes or whatever, but they just give you the DVD. So this has probably been thrown. People probably rented this thinking they were going to see something on the level of Romero or something like that, and then they pop this in and see what it is, and they're probably like, "Fuck this piece of shit." But I was completely blown away by it. This looks fun. Landrum saying brilliant. I think it is. There's something brilliant to it. The overdubbing with the two voices, like I don't know. I don't know if it was intended or if somebody was just fucking around or was like, this movie's complete shit anyway. Let's make these, these dubs over the top and ridiculous. Bonnie Bailey saying she'll add it to her watch list. You can't unsee it, Steve Hernandez, so I have to. Yeah, you gotta see the rest of this thing. Like I said, it's about 60, 70 minutes long. It's really bad. It's really fucking stupid. But my God, it'll be one of the funniest things you've ever seen. I guarantee you. Since as the audio sounds like it was replaced, they replaced audio in Night of the Day of the Dawn of the Sun. Yeah. Very Trauma-esque. I think it's worse than Trauma. Like I think even Lloyd Kaufman would be like, this is dog shit. And that's saying something. Yeah. The nerdy white scientist has a big black voice. Yeah, I mean the dialogue. I mean, I can't stress enough. If you like goofy shit like this, I mean, check it out. Street Trash has a great penis cut and keep away chase scene. That's one. I don't think I've seen Street Trash. I know that's I think Roy Frumkus working on that one. But yeah, that's one I need to see. Anything with a great penis cut and keep away chase scene is on my watch list for sure. It's fucking great. Me and my friend loved it. Yeah, I mean, it's one that you got to watch with your buddies. Like if your buddies are into that shit at all, so choose who you watch it with, because some people might think you should be locked away somewhere. But if you know, like, if you have a friend or relative or something that you know would get a kick out of that, it's the best 60, 70 minutes you'll spend. I mean, you will be in tears, laughing your ass off. All right, so let's move on. Where are we at? Number 7 on my list here. Okay, Mayor says Zombie 90s on YouTube for anyone interested. Just added it to my watch list. Okay, there you go. And Bonnie's saying, do yourself a favor and watch Street Trash. Yeah, that's one. I mean, it's one that's always been on my radar because, like I said, it's got the Roy Frumkus ties, and of course, Roy Frumkus directed Document of the Dead. So that's always been kind of on my radar. I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet. There's so many movies. I swear to God, if you started from the time you were born to the time you die, you'd never watch every movie ever made in history. And that's one of those things that, there's so much out there. Litmus test movie. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But okay, let's move on. Number 7. I'm going to keep these heel sunglasses on because I've already been threatened over this one. But Larry, I apologize. I fucking love Hell of the Living Dead. It's so bad. There's another one that is so bad that it's good, that I have fun watching it. There's something weird about it, that from the opening shots of the power plant or whatever, and that weird music. The zombies in it are goofy as hell. The acting is hilarious. There's literally a scene in this movie where a child is being shot continuously for a solid minute and a half, 2 minutes. Now, like I said, it is a complete 100% Dawn of the Dead ripoff. And this is 1983, so this is 5 years after Dawn came out. And this is just unabashed. And that's the thing about Bruno Mattei. Pretty much almost any Bruno Mattei movie you've ever seen, he's like the Italian Ed Wood. Like he's just stealing shit from other movies. I don't know how he gets away with it, but that to me, there's something brilliant about that. So yeah, it's I mean, down to the SWAT team. There's a SWAT team of 4 guys in this movie. They're all wearing pretty much the exact same outfits that Peter and Roger are wearing in Dawn of the Dead. They got the little hats. I don't know. That's so funny. They always make fun of that on Dead Pit. The little hats that the guys are wearing. The music, I mean, they literally steal music directly from the Goblin Dawn of the Dead soundtrack, so it's filled with Goblin music in it. There's like, I don't know if it's, I would assume, but with Bruno Mattei, you never know. Stock, what do they call it? Stock images and shots of like jungle. It's such a weird movie. It goes from one spot to another. There's really no rhyme or reason to a lot of it. A lot of it doesn't make sense, but there is some good gore in it. It is funny. And it's just one of those weird Italian zombie movies and it's such a blatant ripoff of Dawn of the Dead that I've just always enjoyed it. I think it's enjoyable. It's an entertaining movie to me. And to quote Lloyd Kaufman, who we mentioned a second ago, Lloyd Kaufman always says, no matter what you do with a movie, no matter what you're trying to say, you can have a message or whatnot. But first and foremost, your goal should be, I'm doing the fucking Bill Clinton right now. Your goal should be to entertain your audience. And Hell of the Living Dead entertains me. So, and it always has, and it's one that I can watch any day of the week. So it made my list at number 7. It is what it is. It turns into like a cannibal movie halfway through. It's really all over the fucking place. But if you haven't seen Hell, it's also called like Night of the Zombies. It's had a couple other different titles. But yeah, 1983, Hell of the Living Dead. Apologies to Larry. If you have to sever ties, if we can no longer be friends because of this, I understand, but I gotta be honest here. Number 7 on my list. It's pretty insane. Like I said, these are just my personal favorites. I'm not saying these are, the best of the best, because there are a lot of great zombie films out there that didn't make my list. Mayor says, which one is better, Hell of the Living Dead or Corona Zombies? I've never seen Corona Zombies. Bonus points if you know the connection. I've heard there's a connection there, but I cannot remember what the hell it is. So I don't get bonus points, I guess. It says, oh, great. Love this crap movie. I mean, it is a shit movie, but I've always been fond of it. I don't know. Nathan Caldwell, good to see you. New name. What's up? Dead Alive. Yeah, that's a good one. Didn't make my list. I couldn't make the cut because I had to include Zombie 90 and Hell of the Living Dead on here. So I'll go ahead and spoil it now. Just found Zombie 90 on Usenet too. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's out there. Like Mayor said, it's on YouTube for free. So let's check it out. Dawn and Contamination scores. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just blatantly rips off the Dawn of the Dead stuff. I mean, just I mean, that's all throughout the movie. I mean, I'm making it sound like this movie is complete shit. I mean, it's not a good movie, but it's entertaining as hell. I remember, it was probably about a year and a half ago. I was on a Dead Pit stream it was like a big round table watch along of Hell of the Living Dead. And I think by the end of it, everybody was kind of in agreement where they were just like, that movie's really shitty, but man, that was fun. Like, I really had a good time watching that shit movie. Mayor says Corona Zombies uses footage from Hell of the Living Dead. Okay, yeah, like I said, I've never seen Corona Zombies. Like, that's just the name turns me off to it. But yeah, never gave Corona Zombies a shot. Okay. All right, number 6. Then we're gonna get into the top 5, and these movies will get better. I just have to include the ones that I have a soft spot for, personal love for, and appreciation for. And this is another one that's kind of in the same vein as Hell of the Living Dead, though not as bad. I will say it's not as bad. What year did this come out? I think I wrote it on here. Yeah. So from 1980, Umberto Lenzi's Nightmare City. Number 6 on my list. Again, not the greatest movie in the world. It's definitely a little corny, a little cheesy. The director himself will tell you, like, this is not a zombie film. It's an infected person. So technically, you could say maybe it's the first infected persons film. Although I guess the Crazies would preceded this, but fuck it, it's a zombie movie. Nightmare City is a zombie movie. When I first watched this movie, and this is another one that there was a little, the little mom and pop video store in Hopkinsville back in the day. And it was one of those little places where all the videotapes were, old, like 20 years old, water damaged, faded from, years and years of sitting on a shelf. And they had just the most magnificent horror section you would fucking ever imagine. I mean, everything in there. I mean, but it was one of those fucking awesome places where you could rent 5 movies, keep them for 5 days, all for $5. I'd go in there all the time and just grab up anything that looked even remotely interesting. And one of the things, here's the alternate title, City of the Walking Dead, which is one that I kind of prefer, but I think Nightmare City is a better. So to me, Nightmare City is a better title for what the movie is. But I have a um, personal connection with the City of the Walking Dead title because that's what it was known as when I picked it up at that video store and rented it for the first time. I saw this cover. It's called City of the Walking Dead. It looked old as shit, looked cheap as shit, and I knew nothing about it. I was just like, "Hey, it's a zombie movie. Take it home, watch it." And I had mixed feelings when I first saw it because the first time I saw it, as I was watching it, I was like, I like some of this, like the atmosphere, and it's really well done. I mean, it feels very Italian. It's a very Italian horror film. Even down to the fucking dance studio scenes. For some reason, Italians only like to watch dance footage that's shot in a studio somewhere. But I love some of it, but I could tell like, oh man, the zombies do run in this because I mean technically they're not zombies, but they do run in this. They use weapons, like they stab people and they drink blood. They don't eat people, so you can kind of tell that the filmmaker Lindsay was trying something different. He wanted to separate himself from the Romero style zombie, so he created infected people, as he called it. So it was a different type of zombie movie. So I was like, they're running and using weapons, but something about it just stuck with me. And then at the end of the movie, the thing that sold it for me forever. First of all, the climax of the film takes place in an abandoned amusement park. I mean, how fucking cool is that already? Um, but there's the end scene when the girl falls from the ladder hanging from the helicopter as they're being rescued atop this roller coaster. And the shot where she's falling and it's obviously a dummy. Like I know people will say like, "Oh, Dawn of the Dead." There's obviously dummies in that way, but this was like obviously like a dummy hitting the bars on the way down from this roller coaster, and the obvious overdub screaming as she's hitting the bars. It was so jarring to me that I just fucking died laughing at the end. I was like, "This movie's fucking awesome." So I've always loved it ever since then. And going back over the years and rewatching it, like there's a lot of good to it. Um, the zombie effects are a little funky. It does look like they just smeared a bunch of mud and shit all over these people's faces and told them to go get it. But there is a nightmarish quality to it. That's why I said Nightmare City is probably the best title for it. Literally, I mean, I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but I mean, it's from 45, almost 45 years ago now. So, but it does kind of all take place in a dream, and it does have this really unique dreamlike feel to it. A really well done dreamlike feel to it. Um, for example, getting closer to the climax of the movie, um, the two main protagonists, man and a woman, are kind of roaming the countryside, trying to escape the madhouse that the city's become. I mean, it's starting to be overrun by these blood sucking infected people. Try not to call them zombies, but I don't want to piss off Berto Lindsay or so they're going through this countryside and they're just out in the middle of nowhere and in this big empty field. And then for some fucking reason, there's this giant, beautiful church like in the middle of this field, which I mean, it had to like really be there in real life because there's no way that they had the budget to actually build that as a set out in the middle of this field in the middle of nowhere. Um, and that's the kind of shit that happens in dreams, that when you see dream sequences in a lot of movies, like they kind of fail to capture. There's just random you in your dreams. There's just random things that are in random places, and it doesn't quite make sense. And as you're watching the movie for the first time, you are kind of saying like, "Well, this doesn't really make sense. Why is there a church out in the middle of nowhere?" I mean, it's weird. There's no road leading up to it or anything. There's just a church sitting out there. Why is there an amusement park out here in the middle of nowhere? Um, so it does. They do a really good job of conveying the nightmare aspect of this movie and kind of what it, you know, kind of what we find out in the end. Um, So it all kind of comes together. I've always really liked it. Umberto Lenzi, I saw an interview with him one time where he was talking about he wanted to he was a fan of Romero's zombie films, but he wanted to do his version, what he called a more serious and realistic version if an outbreak ever occurred. Which, let's be honest, it's a little stupid to say, because it's not a realistic portrayal of hardly anything. But I mean, like I said, there is a dreamlike quality to it that makes sense in the end, and I think he nails that perfectly. So it's number 6 on my list, my top 10 all-time favorite non-Romero zombie films, Nightmare City from 1980. What are you guys saying in the chat? I wonder if this is one that all people will be in an agreement with, or like, what is this fucking list? Like, we trust your opinion on zombie films because you're such a Romero fan, and you're giving us all these shitty zombie movies. Operation Sweet Death. Yeah, I love that. Hell of the Living Dead uses footage from something called Death Faces of Death. Death Faces, a Faces of Death ripoff. Okay. Granny says, I have to ask, since it's mentioned, are you not big on Dead Alive? Dead Alive is one that I have only seen once, maybe twice in my life. I liked it when I saw it. I own it on DVD. I just haven't watched it in a real long time. I think the scene with the baby at the playground is one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. It's one of those scenes that anytime I see it, I laugh hysterically. And of course, the gore. I mean, it's an incredible movie. But I just don't have the personal connection to that movie that I have to a lot of these. I'm sure you're asking that. You're like, you didn't include Dead Alive in your list, but you fucking Dead Hate the Living? Seriously? Is what it is. This one is great in a less bad way. That's right. I feel like these movies are going to get better as we go in terms of the quality. Yeah, more like 20 Days Later. That's a good way to put it. It is very early 28 Days Later. Sean says Nightmare City rules, kind of Planet Terror esque. Yeah, that's a good pull there. Planet Terror, one I haven't seen in a really long time. I actually just watched Death Proof not too long ago. City of the Walking Dead is great. I love the woman falling from the roller coaster at the end. I always remember it. Yeah, that's the one that when I saw that first time I saw it, I was like, okay, this movie's fucking awesome. I love this movie. And it just, like I said, it's just like this weird, especially watching it. Like, that's one thing I do miss about old VHS tapes, or watching old VHS tapes for the first time. There's just like a certain grime and a feel to it. It's like, this thing's been rented out a billion times. There's probably jizz and puke and God knows what else has been. It's been in all these people's houses, like, but you get it, and it's just got that feel. It's worn out. You're watching it for the first time. It's one of those old movies with the shitty transfer, and it's just you can barely make out what's going on. But if it's good enough, like, it grabs you. I don't know, man. I'm nostalgic for those days. So it says the scene outside the TV station where a guy threatens a car with a knife. That's a good one. Precursor to Planet Terror. Yeah. 20 Days Later. Here's well, do we want to spoil it? Nah, I guess we already seen it. The All a Dream ending is crap though, like Invaders from Mars. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, when you find that out, it does make the rest of the film kind of make a little more sense. The gymnastics dummy. That's a good way to put it. Stephen King's Cell. I have never seen that. It's one of those. A lot of the newer Stephen King stuff I've never taken time out to watch. Mayor says, so the Italians love Italy, Bandstand, and Assault. Yeah, because it's like in this movie, in Demons 2, they end up in a TV studio, I think, where there's I can't remember. I know they end up in a studio, but I don't remember if they're dancing in that. But I just always there's always something about that. Lindsay uses some fun. Also used some fun Leone Miller eye zooms before kills. That's one thing about Fulci too. Fulci loves that fucking zoom in on the eyes shot. I noticed that today. I was watching. That's all I've been doing today, guys. Is going back and watching these movies the past 2 days. Um, I got pretty drunk last night and rewatched a couple, and then today, other than taking a dip in the pool, um, I've just been laying around watching fucking zombie movies all day. So yeah, that was one I watched before I got on here. Burial Ground has to make the list. It's a death cult classic / softcore porn. Well, we'll see. We'll see. See for sure, Burial Ground. You're saying contains love, dream logic. Yeah, if you had told me the last 3 movies would be on the list at all, I would have been shocked. But I really like the surprises. Yeah, I'm just being honest. Like I said, these are personal favorites. I have a personal connection to a lot of these. But yeah. So far on the list, number 10, Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. Like I said, one that I feel like is probably going to climb the ladder. But just for the fact that I haven't seen it a bunch, it's a newer title to me. It did make the list though, because I do really, really love that fucking movie. Dead Hate the Living at number 9, Zombie 90 Extreme Pestilence coming in at number 8. I feel like Casey Kasem right now. And at number 7, Hell of the Living Dead, Bruno Mattei's zombie masterpiece. And at number 6, Nightmare City, Roberto Lindsay. So we got 5 more to go. And at number 5 on my list. Now this is one I'm really. Let me take these off. No, I'm gonna leave them on. I don't know how you guys are gonna feel about this one. This is one I don't hear people talk a lot about. It's one that anytime I do hear people talk about it, they're like, that's shit. I feel like it's a movie that most people don't like, and they have every right in the world to not like it, honestly. It's a weird fucking movie. But it's one that this is the one that has been made in the past 5 years. That I watched when it came out, and I fucking loved it. It was one of those movies I immediately went back and rewatched, and then watched it again. And I don't do that with a lot of new movies, even stuff I really like a lot of the Ari Aster stuff and A24 films, like movies that I really, really like. I have trouble going back and rewatching them, for whatever reason. Like I've only seen Midsommar once, and I love that movie. Hereditary, same thing. I've only seen that once. I have trouble going back with like new movies, going back and wanting to rewatch it. But this is one that I've watched multiple times since I first saw it. And I watched it again last night, and this was originally on my list. This was originally number 10. After giving it a rewatch last night, I had to move it up. It's in my top 5 because I think it's that good. I find it that entertaining. It's interesting. It's got one of the best songs ever in it. I wouldn't say best songs ever, but the use of a theme song. I don't know. But at number 5 on my list, oh, the dead don't die any more than you or I. The Dead Don't Die from 2019, directed by Jim Jarmusch, starring Bill Murray and Adam Driver and Sturgill Simpson and Tom Waits and Steve Buscemi and Danny Glover and what's that woman's name? Chloe. Oh, I got them all right here. They're on the cover. Tilda Swinton in probably her most fitting fucking role ever. I mean, it's Selena Gomez, the RZA from Wu-Tang, Iggy Pop. I mean, they literally just brought in all of these big name actors and celebrities to be in this weird little fucking movie that nobody in their right mind went out of their way to see or cared about or liked. But I'm such a huge fan of this movie. I think it's so good. It's so funny. It's gory. It's dark. It's weird. I don't even know where to begin on this thing. Like I said, I rewatched it last night for the first time a little bit to kind of refresh my memory, and it really climbed the list. And it's like I said, just because it's the newest movie on my list, I had to put it up there in my top 5. It's got to be at number 5 for me. Bill Murray is fucking hilarious in it. So Bill Murray and Adam Driver, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Go into this one with an open mind. It's not your typical zombie movie at all. Like, don't go into it expecting that. It's more of a, I guess you would. To me, it feels. I mean, it's a Jim Jarmusch film. Jim Jarmusch makes weird shit as it is, but he also directed one of my favorite westerns of all time, 1994's Dead Man with Johnny Depp, and that's a weird ass movie that very few people like. But I love his style. There's something about his sense of humor and the way that he portrays these characters. So Bill Murray and Adam Driver play these small town cops. One aspect that I love about the movie, it's really paying. It's a love letter to George. Like, it really is a love letter to Romero and his zombie films, Night of the Living Dead especially. It takes place in Centerville, Pennsylvania, which is a little bit south of Pittsburgh. I mean, there's a lot of Western Pennsylvania references um, in this movie. The hipsters from Pittsburgh coming to the small town. You know, they mention Latrobe. They got the car from Night of the Living Dead that Johnny and Barbara drive. I mean, that's in it. There's so much about this movie, but it's so dry. The characters are so. I think that's the thing that a lot of people did not like about this movie when it came out and they first saw it. The characters are so dry and uninteresting that it is kind of like, what am I watching? Why do I care? But the thing is about that, I think Jim Jarmusch was trying to get the point across, and you can kind of hear it in the song "The Dead Don't Die" by Sturgill Simpson, which is it's fucking hilarious. They play this song throughout the entire movie at just random spots, and it's always like on the radio, or it's playing in the diner, or they pick up the CD from the local gas station, and everybody's just like, "Oh, Sturgill Simpson," you know, it's a great song. Yeah, I love this song. Or it comes on the radio. Man, this is a great song. I love this song. And then by the end of the movie, you've heard it so much that you're so fucking sick of it. And finally, Bill Murray snaps. He's just like, "God damn it! I fucking hate that goddamn song." But it's a perfect. It's Jim Jarmusch's way. To me, like, I feel I don't know if I would have loved to have known what George's opinion of this movie would have been. I wish he would have seen this movie. I would have loved to have gotten his opinion on it because I feel like George would have liked this movie. It feels very George. Um, the characters are just as zombie-like as the zombies themselves, and the zombies come back to life, and they're going after the things that they loved and coveted the most when they were alive. Like coffee or Wi-Fi. They'll just go around and go Wi-Fi. I mean, Sturgill Simpson plays a zombie, cameo role as a zombie in this. If you guys are familiar with Sturgill Simpson, probably one of the best country artists or music artists in general that's come out in many, many years. But he has a cameo role in this, and he's a zombie dragging a guitar around. He's just a guitar, and the human character. So one no, I mean, it's so funny. There's the dialogue between Bill Murray. At one point, they're driving and everything's kind of starting to go to shit, and they're kind of realizing it's zombies. I mean, everybody's pretty aware of what zombies are in this movie, and but there's a point there where they're so dry, and it's such a good, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a good parody of how we are as people and the way we interact with our fellow human beings. They're sitting there having this conversation, and the cars are driving. Bill Murray's like, I was supposed to retire last year, and Adam Driver's like, why didn't you? Bill Murray just looks at him. He's just like, what are we fucking ad-libbing here? He's just, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know. It's goofy, weird shit like that. Weird little bits of dialogue. What are we ad-libbing here? Like, don't ask too much. Don't try to get too deep into it. Let's keep everything on the surface. And I mentioned before, Tilda Swinton in this movie, the role was made for her. I don't want to spoil it too much. She's yeah, I don't want to say too much about her character. If you haven't seen this movie, check it out. But it's so out there and so weird. I mean, she's going through town with a fucking samurai sword, just hacking up zombies, and she's an out there character, and explains why. It's such a weird love. I love this movie. I don't know what else to say. It's in my. It really climbed all the way to my top 5. It's one that I have a lot of fun with. Like I said, it's one. It feels so George to me. There's so many references to remember. There's even a scene. There's a character that runs like a local gas station, and he's a he got the gas. He's like a young kid, but he's a big collector. Like he collects all this horror stuff. He has all this like, horror film knowledge and stuff. And at one point, fucking the RZA shows up and he works for Wu PS, Wu Tang, just little shit like that. It's a movie where somebody's just like, fuck it, let's have fun and make this movie. I want to make this movie the way I want to make it, and if nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. And Jarmusch has always kind of been that way, but anyway, this character works in this place and he has all this knowledge. And then Selena Gomez and these teenagers who are driving through stop at this gas station and they pick up the Sturgill Simpson CD and they're talking about horror movies. And as they're going back to the car, they're driving the car that Johnny and Barbara drive in Night of the Living Dead. They're driving that same model car. And he steps out and he's like, "Oh, that's very George Romero of you." And she just turns and she's like, "Wow, your film knowledge is so impressive." And there's just like this moment between them, and it's like an obvious like nerd's wet dream of being like, "Oh yeah, this hot girl is loving me over my vast not my vast Romero knowledge. I don't know. It's such a kooky movie. It's so weird. It's like if Wes Anderson made a fucking zombie movie, that's kind of what this is, if I were to describe it. But I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen it, watch it again. Or if you haven't seen it, watch it. If you've seen it and you didn't like it or didn't quite get it, or watch it again, give it a shot with an open mind and just kind of enjoy what the hell it is. Because is. There are a few things about it that I'm not a huge fan of. It's not very bloody. Um, for some reason, the zombies there's no blood in them. They just dissolve to dirt mostly. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, Dead Don't Die, 2019. What are you guys saying? What do you guys think? How many of you guys have seen it? Did you like it? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Let me try to catch up here. Got a lot of comments on this one. I'm excited to see what you guys are thinking. All right, folks, it's been great. Love talking zombies with y'all. Night up. All right, so are you leaving, Robert, because of the Dead Don't Die? Are you not a Dead Don't Die fan? But either way, man, I appreciate you stopping in. Always good to see you. Tell Miss Christine Romero I said hi. Let's see, Night Zed. Wow, yeah, Grande, I told you. Hated this one, can't lie. Well, I'm telling you, man, go back in, watch it again with an open eye. Like I said, I feel like if George had lived to see this, I would have loved to have gotten his opinion on it, because I feel like the spirit is there. It's definitely got a Romero spirit. But give it another shot. We'll see. Bonnie Bailey, I've not seen that one yet. Matt Landrum says, "What? No, that is a huge pile of shit. Come on. Sturgill Simpson, Bill Murray, Steve Buscemi." All right, I've officially turned heel, guys. I've officially turned heel. Boo this man. Go ahead. Bring it on. Bring it on. I'm telling you. Give it another shot. Better keep them shades on. Yeah. Wow, Jim Jarmusch. I sat behind him at a Tom Waits concert in Akron, Ohio. Yeah, that's awesome. Tom Waits is actually in this movie too. Like I said, he plays Hermit Bob. This guy lives out in the woods, but he's very in tune to everything because he lives amongst the nature, whatever the fuck they want to go. But he kind of sees everything coming. He's kind of the narrator through the film. So it's a fucking zombie movie with Tom Waits as your narrator. That alone, I mean, and you got Iggy Pop fucking tearing people apart. I mean, come on, Matt. I know you can appreciate Iggy Pop, zombie Iggy Pop. Jarmusch is great in general. Stranger Than Paradise, Down by Law, Coffee and Cigarettes. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Jarmusch, a lot of his films are acquired tastes. I'll definitely agree with that. I really wanted to like it, but the humor was so dry that it didn't click for me. Like, it was too much. Just missed the mark for me personally. Oh, that's understandable. It is very dry. The humor is very dry in it. It's very, I don't know. I laugh. I laugh when I watch it. It's so dry that it's just, it works for me. But I get it. Only like one Jim Jarmusch movie, and that's Only Lovers Left Alive. I don't think I've seen that one. Mystery Train. He's not on the jukebox either. Tom Waits said at that Akron show, they told me it sold out in 12 minutes. My question is, what took so long? It's good. It's a good line. I did see it. Can't remember much about it. We'll watch again. Okay, Nathan. Yeah, like I said, it's very dry. Like I said, to me, it feels like a Wes Anderson made a zombie movie. But I just feel and see so much Romero in it that I can't help. Like when Adam Driver's cutting fucking Selena Gomez's head off in the hotel room, and he comes out and he's just holding it, and he's like, "All right, well, guess we can go now." It's like, oh, how could you do that to the Pittsburgh hipsters or whatever? I don't know. There's just it's so dry and so weird, but I had to do it. Had to do it, guys. I've gone full heel. Full heel. Rick the North Going Llama, my favorite screen name on YouTube. Rick the North Going Llama. What's up, man? Good to see you in here. And again, I love that name. And one last one, Dead and Breakfast is worth a watch. Okay, I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen it available, but I've never actually watched it. Very well. That's killer. I don't know. It cracks me every time I see it. Rick the North Going Llama. Love it. All right. So now we're getting into it. Okay. I think we're going to be a little bit more in agreement in a lot of these next titles. So I'm going to put my baby face glasses back on, and but god damn, when you take those shades off and all of a sudden that light hits you, it's pretty goddamn blinding. My WGON mug picked up off TeePublic, which, by the way, if you want to check out, I got a new shop for some t-shirts. You can get t-shirts, mugs, whatever you want. It's just some different designs that I did at shop.alfaromero.store. Check it out. I think everything's on sale right now, actually. I think everything's on sale for $15. T-shirts are $15 right now. So, can't beat that. Redeem thyself. Okay. Okay, let me see. Let's see what I got. Number 4 on my list. And I think, like I said, I think this one's pretty agreeable all the way around. We'll see. Number 4 on my list. 1979. Lucio Fulci's Zombie. What all can I say about Fulci's Zombie? Great soundtrack, great score. Fabio Frizzi's score is one of the all-time best in horror history. I think actually on tour right now, or is going to be playing that, playing the zombie score live. First time I saw Zombie, it's one of those movies that I'd always, back in the early internet days, in the early days of, discovering a lot of this stuff, it was one of those movies that I always saw photos of and I always heard about. I always saw the cover. I mean, it was one of the best just cover images. I mean, this was pretty much the VHS cover that I saw. We are going to eat you. I mean, it's just so weird and so simple. And I think it may have been the first Fulci film that I'd ever seen. But it was one that always kind of eluded me. None of the video stores that were close to where I grew up never saw it anywhere. Of course, it never came on USA or HBO or anything back when I was desperately trying to track it down. But in Madisonville, Kentucky, staying the night with cousin, and down the road, there was a circus little video tanning place. And still to this day, probably the best selection of movies that I'd always dreamed of seeing, but didn't get a chance. This is the first place I rented Suspiria and saw that for the first time. First place I rented The Crazies for the first time and saw that. And we'd take them back to my grandparents' house and we'd watch them. And walked in there, and what do they got? They have the VHS of Fulci's Zombie. So I grabbed that along with Suspiria and The Crazies, and we took them back to my granny and papa's house. Me and my cousin Justin sat down, watched all three. I mean, like, bad quality old videotapes, like original VHS tapes of this stuff. And I remember watching it for the first time, and I was just like, just blown away. I've always said that the gore in Fulci's films and the way that Fulci portrays zombies, the living dead, there's something so disgusting about it and so effectively disgusting about it that you can actually kind of smell it through the screen. You can smell the gore in a Fulci film. Like I said, I was watching City of the Living Dead just before I got on here tonight, and it's one of those movies like because I was trying to eat while I was watching. It's one of those movies that I just can't like. There's parts where I'm just like, okay, I don't need to put this down. Like when the girl's puking up all of her guts and insides, like you don't really feel like taking a big bite of spaghetti while you're watching that. But Zombie is one that's exactly the same, and it takes place on an island. It's very dry. You can feel the heat on top of the rotting flesh. Because I mean, I don't. I'm sure all of you have seen this, so you know what I'm talking about. But for those of you that haven't, I mean, just that image of that zombie right there. I used to have a mask of this, and I bought it at Spencer's years ago. But the worms in the eyes and something about those zombies in zombie like this is 79, so a year after Dawn of the Dead. And of course, in Italy, it was titled Zombie 2, so it's marketed as a sequel to Dawn of the Dead over in Italy. But in the US, it's just, plain old zombie. A great title. I mean, these are voodoo zombies in this, for one. They're different than Romero's zombies. They come out of the ground, they ride, like mentioned earlier, the conquistadors and all that. And they're just rotting. And it's just some of the grossest effects. Like, there's something completely different about the effects in a movie like this in comparison to like Savini's zombies or anything like that. They just look dirty and rotting, and the gore in them. I mean, just from the opening scene in the boat, um, not even when you don't even see a zombie yet. You just got these two cops on this boat that go down below, and one of the first things he sees is a severed hand and just like these slugs or worms or whatever the fuck on the keys of a piano and on the floor. And Fulci uses insects and maggots and stuff better than anybody, ever, in my opinion. Um, but the movie itself, I mean, like I said, what else can you say? I mean, it's been talked about to death. I mean, it's a classic, one of the classic horror films of all time. Um, to me, it's Fulci's best, my favorite Fulci film. It's one that I watched a lot. And when I got it on DVD finally, the Anchor Bay DVD, when I finally got the DVD, is when I watched. How can't even overlook the fucking shark versus zombie scene. I mean, how just batshit nuts is that? Like Fulci was literally like, "Hey, Dawn of the Dead was successful, Jaws was successful. Let's put them together. Fuck it. Let's see what happens when you get a zombie versus a shark." Um, there's so much that I love about Fulci's Zombie, and I will say this. I'll go ahead and throw this out there. Like I said, to me, it's Fulci's best zombie film of all of his zombie films, but I think it's Fulci's best film and one of the best Italian horror films ever. Period. Um, and Tisa Farrow, I think this was like she did two movies. This is her first, and then I think Anthropophagus was her second one. I think that was the last one she did. So, yeah, I know she just recently passed away. Don't think I mentioned that. I think I remember seeing somebody comment about that on something before, um, but yeah, she just recently passed away just a few months ago. But I hope I redeemed myself with some folks, Matt, with Fulci's Zombie at number 4 on this list. Let's check the comments and see, because like I said, I don't know what all I can see. Yeah, the eyeball scene, one of the best kills in any horror movie ever. So okay, I've redeemed myself with Matt. That's big for me. I appreciate that. We're going to eat you. I know it's such a fucking straight ahead like tagline. We are going to eat you. It's kind of silly, but then when you watch it, like, eesh. Bonnie says my eye hurts. Yeah, that scene is it's so over the top. But that's the thing about Fulci's films in general is it's kind of like Argento. You just got to go along for the ride. You got to just suspend disbelief and escape reality for a little bit and go into their weird worlds. And the way that eye thing plays out, it's like, obviously, if you think about it more than 5 seconds, like if you're not a huge fan of these films or whatnot, you're like, oh, why didn't she just like slap the hand away and just run? It's like, no, because Fulci, because fuck that. Why would we want to do that? We want to watch this splinter go through this girl's eye. And Fulci's just like, fuck it. To me, like, Fulci to me, like, is not one of my favorite filmmakers. He's not on. I mean, I like a lot of his movies. I respect him, but he's not on that same pantheon as like a Romero or Argento. To me personally, um, but what he does, like a lot of his movies, don't really make a lot of sense. The dialogue's pretty bad. The acting's pretty bad. But what Fulci's brilliant at is killing motherfuckers, and that's that's what he does. In the scene where they go into the house and the zombies, the way that the zombies act in this too, it's like they're asleep. And there's something just so creepy about that. I don't know. Fulci, no doubt. Absolutely. Great score in Shark Fight. Eye horror, of course. Absolutely. Matt saying can't fail with Fulci. That's a good t-shirt. Can't fail with Fulci. Um, Sean says I got a zombie hoodie. That's awesome. Yeah, I have some zombie stuff. I used to have a zombie t-shirt back in the day, but I wore it out. Killed it. Mayor, speaking of Fulci, did you participate in the fourth Fulci film or Fulci Lives Film Week on Instagram? I believe it ends at midnight. No, I haven't even heard of that. I've been trying to do a little more on Instagram here lately. Um, I'm social media, like outside of YouTube, outside of doing this, like, and the Romero groups on Facebook, but like outside of that, like I don't know, I don't do a whole lot. So I'm trying to branch out a little more, do a little more on social media. But Dan O'Bannon's Return of the Living Dead is one of my faves. Okay, stay tuned. We might get there sooner rather than later. Is Mike out or just me? I don't know. I hope everything's working. So far, so good tonight. I haven't had any bad connection issues or anything. The rundown village, dusty scenery, and zombies shambling about is very iconic. Fulci had a knack for scenes. Yeah, I do love the voodoo take on it too. The island setting, and it starts off in New York, it ends in New York. What a great final shot too in that movie where the zombies are shambling towards New York City on across the bridge. Um, yeah, there's so much to love about this movie. Alpha, is there a lot of difference between the 4K of Zombie and the 4K transfer of the Blu-ray? They both look fantastic. I mean, you're not going to go wrong with either one. I ended up getting the 4K. I did have the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray looked great, but they were having a sale on these at the local FYE, or whatever the hell they're calling it now. So I picked this up, the 4K of this and Maniac. And in both cases, like the thing about the Blue Underground, I kind of agree with a lot of people when they say this is like their Blu-ray transfers or their 4K transfers to Blu-ray look just as good as their 4K. So I mean, if you can get the Blu-ray, I would that would be totally fine. I think that'd be just as good. But it Blue Underground did a fucking bang up job on this thing in terms of transfers. It looks absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I don't think you can really do wrong either way, man. Although the fat mummy zombie in New York on the boat is very odd. Yeah, I do. I love that zombie though. He's just kind of like, who does he remind me of? Like fucking Uncle Fester or something. Okay, you hit mute, so it's not on me. Thank God. So it was Return of the Living Dead 2 until they tweaked it and changed the original theatrical release. Zombieland was a nice surprise. I like, yeah, I'm a fan of Return of the Living Dead 2. That's one that when I first saw it, I was like, this is kind of shitty. But that's when I went back and rewatched. I actually watched that with my 3-year-old not too long ago, and we had a good time with it. So that's kind of how I gauge a lot of things now, is if my 3-year-old likes it. Hang on, I'm gonna yell at the dogs real quick. Okay, I'm back. I don't want to do a Steve there and be like, "Shut up." But yeah, that's how I gauge a lot of things now, is if my 3-year-old likes it. Like she's been binge watching over and over and over again Gremlins and Gremlins 2. Um, and I couldn't be prouder. Granny says he turned babyface, especially mentioning a Fulci movie the last week of Fulci Lives Film Week. Hell yeah! Oh yeah, okay, that's what you were doing on your stream on Thursday. Okay, I see. I don't know that. I don't know this stuff. I'm out of the loop. I'm old and out of the loop, guys. But yeah, I mean, you can't have a top 10 zombie countdown list without a Fulci film of some sort. And what better one than fucking Zombie? Classic. I agree with you on it being one of the best Italian horror films ever. City of the Living Dead is my favorite Fulci, but Zombies right up there with it. Um, yeah, those are probably my two favorite Fulci films. I like, I like House by the Cemetery. I like that quite a bit. The Beyond is really good. New York Ripper. That's one that I think is really underrated. I think New York Ripper's, just as good, if not, on par with a lot of the Fulci's more beloved films. But there's a lot of Fulci that I like. You got a dog named Fulci. I think that's pretty fucking killer. Gianetto De Rossi. Great makeup effects. Yeah, I agree. I mean, 79. I mean, we're talking the look of the zombies, and yeah, there are less zombies. So like in Dawn of the Dead, they were trying to make up hundreds of fucking zombies. So you got to do what you can do with a small budget. But there are fewer zombies to do in this movie, so they could do a little more. It's more of a mask look to it, but I fucking love the looks. Fulci's deaths are mean spirited. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think that's what makes him so effective. He lingers on the pain, which causes a deeper reaction. It's a good way to put it. Very mean spirited. Fulci was a mean spirited guy. Actually, I think he was pretty cool if you were a guy or a kid. But I've heard a lot of horror stories from a lot of the actresses that he worked with over the years. He could be a little bit of a tyrant. I had the host of it on my channel Thursday, Mayor. He was a blast. They were all like fictional Italian. Okay, so yeah, I tuned in like a few minutes after you guys started on that one, so I didn't know who all those guys were or why they were all acting that way. But let me see. Let me see. Okay, interesting. Landrum prefer Return of the Living Dead 2 over the first one. Okay. Return of the Living Dead 2 was cool, like throwbacks. I like it a lot. There's a lot of fun in Return of the Living Dead 2. 88, I believe, was Return of the Living Dead 2. Yeah, 88. Will Wheaton has hard grudges against Fulci. I'd love to know why. I'd love to hear those stories. But okay, let's keep it moving. We're getting to the end here. We got the final top three on my list. It's come up in conversation a little bit now, so we'll go ahead and get into number 3 on my list. 1985, Return of the Living Dead. This is one that is kind of a local legend in Kentucky. Like if you lived in Kentucky, you grew up in Kentucky, like a lot of my uncles and adults that I knew that grew up, at a time when, like when this movie first came out, it was always legendary to them because it took place in Louisville and nothing ever happens in Kentucky, and we got nothing to show for anything, say Deliverance or what. People just think that, but we actually had our own horror movie, by God. And people would always ask, like, "Is that the one that was supposedly took place in Louisville? It was like a true story." And I'm like, "Yeah." But yeah, Return of the Living Dead. I mean, it's borderline perfect fucking horror movie. It's the perfect Halloween film. I watch it every year for Halloween. The dialogue, the interplay between the characters, James Karen and Clu Gulager and Tom Matthews, and just the different types of characters. You got the older guys, you get the punks. What is there not to love about Return of the Living Dead? The music. I mean, it's probably the most iconic punk rock zombie horror film ever. The music's awesome in it. It's got punks in it. The gore effects are awesome. Now, yes, this is probably technically the first running zombie movie, maybe. I guess you can think Nightmare City, but we've talked about that. They're infected people. But it works in this. There's a comedy to it. It's so 80s. I mean, we've talked about, Day of the Dead and this coming out pretty much right at the exact same time in 1985. And I think, I've never thought George was a big fan of this movie. I've always thought George was, anytime he was asked about it, he would just kind of laugh it off and be like, "Oh yeah, that was a spoof, that was a parody of what I do." So I think George kind of held a grudge against Return of the Living Dead because it came out right around the time Day of the Dead came out, and Return of the Living Dead was far more successful than Day of the Dead was when it first came out. Because it was just it encapsulated, it was the epitome of the 80s. The music, the attitude, the punk rockers, the they had just like a weird. It was like a weird mix of characters. You got Miguel Nunez is in. There's it's like I said, it's the perfect like '80s fun horror movie. And like I said, a lot of horror movies from the '80s, it was about fun. It was about a party. It was a party atmosphere. Horror movies in the '80s were kind of a party atmosphere. They were trying to lighten up, I think, after the slasher, the more mean spirited slashers of the early '80s. So by the mid '80s, we were getting stuff like Return of the Living Dead, and Reanimator, and Fright Night, and stuff that was still horror but was a little more lighthearted. Um, but I mean, just so quotable, so many lines, so many quotable lines in this movie. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I've never read John Russo's script. I've always heard that there's very little of it um, that ended up in the final film. I think pretty much what they did was they pretty much just bought the name Return of the Living Dead from John Russo and just kind of did their own thing because I think Dan O'Bannon did direct, but I think he did do. He was one of the writers on the screenplay, or can't remember exactly who all was a part of that. Yep, screenplay by Dan O'Bannon. So yeah, basically Dan O'Bannon took Russo's screenplay and from what I hear, completely did it completely different. And in my opinion, probably for the best because it needed to be something different. It's a very different type of zombie film than Romero's zombie universe. The zombies talk in this one for once, like send more cops, send more paramedics. It's so goofy and so out, but at the same time, I remember when the first time I saw Return of the Living Dead, I rented it uh, from Movie Gallery in Olive Branch, Mississippi. I was living in Mississippi for a couple of years. I was probably 10, 11, 12. I saw it and I was like, "Oh, this looks fucking awesome." You know what? Sidetrack. I was just talking about quotable lines. You know what the most quotable line is to me in this movie, and I use it all the fucking time. Almost every day I use this. Like when I get home from work, and Jade asks me, she's like, "How was your day?" I always quote, the military guy in the movie when he comes home, and his wife's like, "How was your day?" And his quote is, "Usual crap." I don't know why. That's the most quotable line in the whole movie to me. I say it almost on a daily basis. Usual crap. Anyway, but I don't know what the fuck was I even talking about before I got on that. That line just popped into my head and I had to get it out. Um, I don't even remember what I was getting at before that, but yeah, first time I saw it, it's still scary. I mean, that's the good thing. That's what a good horror comedy should be. It should still be scary. It's like when I first saw it as a kid, like it was pretty, still pretty fucking scary, even though it was a little over the top and fun. When the bodies are coming out of the graves and the do you want to party? All that shit it's fun. It's good and fun, but they still the horror is still there. The gore is still there. I mean, Tarman. I mean, it was one of the most iconic images in horror film history. I mean, you can't. It's one of those movies that's been talked about to death. So I'm trying to think of other uh, other things to say about it that haven't already been said a billion times. I mean, I guess we could talk about the Brian Peck situation, but nah, I won't do that. So what are you guys saying? What are you guys saying? New York Ripper, yeah, yeah, rips too. So Grind is saying one of the best ever. Rest in peace, Dan O'Bannon. Yeah, Dan O'Bannon, man, what a career. Alien, fucking Return of the Living Dead. I did was did he do something for Total Recall too? I think he worked on that maybe. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong. But no Linnea Quigley in Return of the Living Dead 2. Yeah, that's the big drawback for Return 2. There's no Linnea Quigley. I like it spoony. Oh, all right. Spooky. We get you. I like it spooky. Fuck, I lost my place. There we go. Spooky. We got you. Yeah. Well, interesting. I love that that character too is all about death and I want to die and I'm so dark and but when the shit hits the fan, she's the first one that's just like I don't want to die. Why? Oh, brilliant. Return is a great one. I spoke to Russo about it a little at LDW. Yeah, I wonder. I've also heard that that's part of the reason why George was not the biggest fan of Return of the Living Dead 2. Not Return of the Living Dead 2, but Return of the Living Dead as well, is because he felt like Russo got kind of screwed over on that, where they just took a script and did something completely different with it. I don't know if that's the case or not, but that's one theory that I've always heard. It says Return of the Living Dead 2 was the first one that I saw as a kid, so I think the nostalgia factor plays a part in my preference. The original is still top tier classic. Yeah, I mean, I remember, yeah, like I said, the first time I saw Return of the Living Dead 2, I was just kind of like, this is kind of corny. But like I said, watching it again here recently, I was like, it's pretty entertaining. It's pretty funny, and my 3-year-old likes it. Shaun of the Dead was like my next favorite movie. Okay, that might be on the list. I watch Return of the Living Dead every July 3rd. Well, it's coming up, man. The only downside of it is having Brian Peck as one of the pugs. Yeah, I could get into. I'm not going. I'm not going to, but I could get it. I have my own thoughts and opinions on the Brian Peck thing, and it may be controversial, and a little controversial, but maybe we'll get into that one day. The comedy is a big difference since skeletal zombies had eyes and could move around and talk. Yeah, works in that movie. Yeah, the talking zombies, that threw me off a little bit the first time I saw it, but uh, yep, Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th series of movies. Yeah, yeah, because I mean, if you could tell, like perfect examples, like those movies when the first couple of those are really serious, really mean spirited. Or not really mean spirited, but they're more bloody, more violent. But as the movie's gone on, it got a little more cartoonish and a little more silly, which is fine. Like I said, Friday the 13th Part 5 is my favorite of the series, and it's outrageously goofy in a lot of ways. Yeah, Sean says, yeah, Russo really has no claim on Return of the Living Dead. Not really, yeah. I mean, he still does, but I mean, he still will. But um, I'd like to read his book sometime, see what it is. You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life. I love the fucking when the fucking trash is like rubbing on his leg and she's all like naked and shit trying to seduce me. He's just like, hey, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? Put some clothes on. Have some respect for the dead. It's like, what the fuck's the matter with you, man? It's just like, get off me, like stop. Rabid weasels. I love what's the guy's name that plays the uh what is his name? It's right on the tip of my tongue. It's like the guy that plays the mortician or whatever those people are called. Grande hates Return of the Living Dead 2. It's horrendous, scoreless, G-rated zombie movie. After hearing the BTS stories, I hate it even more. Behind the scenes stories. I was like BTS. Mayor says, I remember making my own Return of the Living Dead shirt after I saw the movie at the theater. No fright rags back in the 80s, plus DIY, so punk. Yeah, yeah. So, speaking of DIY, shop.alfaromero.store because .com was not available. Uh, I saw Return of the Living Dead when it first came out. It's a favorite. I think I was the only girl in my group that enjoyed it. How could you not enjoy Return of the Living Dead? I mean, there's something in it for everybody. I think you got to be a fan of it. Yeah, there you go, Bonnie. Don Calfa or Calfa. Don Calfa. Big fan of his performance in that as well. Like I said, so quotable. So much going on in that movie. There's so much to like about that movie, but for me, it ends up number 3 on the list, Return of the Living Dead. So now we got the top 2 here. And this was tough. This is honestly the toughest decision of which of these two would be 1, which one would be 2. Honestly, they're probably neck and neck. They're 1A and 1B. But if I had to really narrow it down and go with one or the other, I think this is the way I'm going to go with it. I'm leaving. And I'm back. Okay. Cracking open a Diet Dr. Pepper, guys. Because I like to party on Saturday nights. You know me. But I went back and forth with this one. I love both of these movies. But I would put them in this order. And I rewatched this one again today for the first time. And this is one that when it first came out, I watched it so many times. It was one of those movies that was just on fucking repeat at friends' house, at parties, on repeat. So it'd been a little bit since I watched it. I kind of got a little burnout on it. Went back and rewatched it today for the first time in a while. And honestly, it's a damn near perfect movie in every way. I laughed. I cried. I cry through this movie. I don't care what you think about that. I'm a I'm a sensitive fellow when it comes to movies. Um, like I said, borderline perfect fucking movie, but for me, it's number 2 on my all-time top 10 favorite non-Romero zombie films, and it is 100% a love letter to George. George loved this movie. I think it's a lot of people's favorite non-Romero zombie films. But number 2 on my list, Shaun of the Dead from 2004. I can't tell you how much I love this movie. Like it's hilarious. It's perfectly scripted. The structure of it. There's so many things that are mentioned at the beginning of the film that get called back to. Like almost every bit of dialogue in the movie, there's some kind of callback to. There's some kind of joke to. The relationship between Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, the friendship there. I mean, of course, I think they'd worked on a TV series before this called Spaced. I think they were both on that. I've never been a big, never seen it. Um, but of course, is Edgar Wright's feature directorial debut, I believe, and he's now gone on to be one of the biggest directors in Hollywood. And you can see it. There's so much talent. You can see all the talent that Edgar Wright had in this fucking had inside of him in this movie. And you can tell this movie was made with pure love and enthusiasm for the genre and for George. I mean, down to the music cues from Dawn of the Dead being used at the beginning. The from the airport scene when the movie opens. Like I remember when I watched this for the first time and I heard that music during the Universal opening, and I was like, "Holy shit, I love this movie already! Like this is already my movie." And then as it went on, it just got better and better and better. And there's no wasted scenes in this movie. There's no wasted dialogue in this movie. Everything, like I've said before, I feel like a lot of movies now, it's this happens and then this happens and then this happens, whereas a movie should play out. This happens, therefore this happens because of this. There should be a reason for everything. And Shaun of the Dead, literally every scene connects to another part of the movie or connects to the next scene. It moves. It moves so quickly, and that's one thing I love about Edgar Wright in general. A lot of his films that there's no slowing down. Um, one scene will be extremely hilarious. There'll be some action in the next scene. The next scene will be really heartfelt and a tearjerker scene, but then it goes right into another comedy bit. The performances are fantastic, like I said. Simon Pegg. I mean, and like I said, just all the references. I mean, George loved this fucking movie. I mean, to the point where he brought in Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright to have a cameo role in Land of the Dead a year later. Um, and I feel like that says a lot because I don't feel like George was really a big zombie movie fan in general. I feel like there were probably a handful that he probably had some affinity for, some like of, but this is like one of the only ones I've ever heard him just constantly praise. And just anytime anybody asks me, like, "Oh, what other zombie movies do you like?" It's always Shaun of the Dead. I think that's it. I think it's brilliant, and it really is. I mean, the dialogue's brilliant, the comedy's brilliant, and the scene where they're fucking beating the bar, the pub owner with the sticks, the pool sticks to the Queen song. I mean, I it's one of the funniest scenes in movie history, in my opinion. Um, it's a romantic comedy. It's a zombie, and it is, like I said, like I said a minute ago, when it comes to like horror comedies, the important aspect is there still has to be a horror element to it. It has to still be terrifying or scary or gory in some way. And Shaun of the Dead brings the gore. There's a lot of blood in this, a lot of practical effects. I mean, they tear the fucking Harry Potter guy all to pieces. Um, it's like everything you would everything that a Romero fan, everything that a zombie fan would want is in Shaun of the Dead. Um, I don't know what else to say about it. I fucking love this movie. Ask me tomorrow, it might be my number one, but for now, it's my number two, my all-time favorite non-Romero zombie films. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Shaun of the Dead. It's good. You can watch it, pick it up at any time, at any point in the movie, and watch it any day of the week, and still be completely entertained by it. What do you guys think? I think this is probably. I think I'm in full babyface mode. I think my first five, I was on the edge. I was like, okay, I might start a riot tonight. But I think right now, I think I'm making a little bit of a babyface turn. We'll see. We'll see how number one gets over with you guys. Rick loved Dawn of the Dead 2004. Fuck that movie. Matt, I I got no patience for that fucking remake anymore. Sorry. Didn't make my list. Matthew Helm, what's up, man? The mortician was supposed to be a Nazi. Yeah, because he had that gun. Yeah, I can definitely see that. The old fucking Nazi gun. That's what I used to call it. The old Nazi gun. Pardon, drinking a Capri Sun myself. Hey, you can't go wrong with a Capri Sun. Come on. Matt says, "Don't be ashamed. It's a great film. Cry away." Oh, I do, man. The fucking scenes, like, there's a couple of scenes when his mom, when he has to shoot his mom and she has to break it to him that she's been bitten. The scene that fucking gets me every time, the first time I saw it and just watching it earlier, is the scene where um the stepdad, what the fuck is his name? It's played by Bill Nye or however you pronounce that name. He's been in a bunch of shit. But when he's dying in the car and everybody's freaking out and everything's going on, he has to pull Sean aside to kind of tell him, like, I'm yeah, your father. I know you lost your father, and I met you. You were already so old and so grown already, but I wanted to be, I saw so much potential in you, and I wanted to give you somebody to look up to, and I was hoping that would be me. And that whole like spiel there, and it's a perfect example of what I'm saying of like how the movie moves. Like it goes from one thing to another so brilliantly. Like it's all this commotion and chaos going on, and then there's like this quiet, emotional scene between these two characters, and the performances between the two are so effective. And then then he dies, and then it's like immediately he comes back, and it's like, okay, we're back into the zombie movie. But it's that gets me every time. I don't know. I don't know why. Are you making that face? Because I'm admitting to being a huge fucking crybaby when it comes to movies. And that's the thing. Like I think it's probably because I'm mentally ill or something like that. But when it comes to like real life, like when shit's hitting the fan in real life, like I don't cry. I'm just like, I'm not gonna cry. I gotta be tough. I gotta stay strong for everybody else. But when it comes to movies, man, I'll cry like a baby. I cry like a baby for fucking Clerks 3, for Christ's sake. I'll admit it. I don't care. I know a lot of people like shit on that movie, but for somebody that grew up with those characters in that movie, I cry like a baby. I'll admit it. Great homage to Romero's zombie movies, absolutely. The pub seller wasn't expecting to be choked up. Yeah, when he says to, just that really the friendship relationship there between those two, Ed and Sean, and when he has to leave him behind, it's like, I'm sorry, Sean. It's okay. No, Sean. I'm sorry. We used to do that to each other back in the day. Perfect blend of comedy and flat out horror. Lots of great emotion that runs the entire scale. Excellent film. 100% agree. Rick says, State of Emergency is another great non-Romero zombie. I don't think haven't seen that one. Like I said, there's just ones I've seen, so maybe we'll revise this in a couple of years. Sean says Sean rules. I agree with Sean that Sean does rule. And I think your screen name there rules. So I think Sean rules because he thinks Sean rules. Bonnie says inspired by an episode of Space. Oh, okay. Shaun of the Dead is how I found that series. It's great. You'll have to go back. I'll have to track it down and watch it at some point. I'm a big fan, like Hot Fuzz and The World's End. I think that's one that nobody really talks about that I thought was pretty good. That whole series of movies there that they did with Edgar Wright. I'm even a big fan of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I think that's another one of those movies that just moves. And if you're a weird fucking indie kid, that grew up in that era like I did, it kind of hits home a lot. Mayor said, I love the artwork on your Sean Steele book. I've got the Mondo Steele book. Dude, I bought this. This is just a Universal release, but I picked this up as like $5 in the $5 bin at Walmart. Blu-ray Steelbook. This is how long ago? Year and a half ago or so? Or no, maybe I found it at Big Lots. Actually, I think I got it at Big Lots. As a matter of fact, $5. Couldn't beat that. Don't stop me now. Gonna have. I mean, that's just fucking brilliant. Like that's when you see stuff like that in a movie, you can tell that the people that made this movie are friends and they love this stuff, and they probably just sat around drinking, coming up with this shit. Just laughing to themselves like, "Oh, this would be funny. Let's do this," or "This would be funny. Let's do this." When he slips on the blood, getting the cornetto and doesn't notice it's blood. Yeah, that whole like one shot of him leaving the apartment and going across, because it's the exact same shot that happened earlier in the film, and everybody's alive and everything's well, but it's all kind of the same kind of. It's kind of the same thing as the dead don't die. It's like the people, the living in society are pretty much just as much zombies as the actual zombies are. Check out Juan of the Dead is one I need to check out. I saw the Steelbook yesterday actually at a local store here for a pretty good price, but I didn't pick it up. But I do need to see that. I've heard good things. Um, Rick, nah, man, don't rib people for their fondness or emotion about a movie or character. Nah. Um, no, that's the thing. Like, it's like I said, this list you can pick it apart. A lot of these movies are not great, but they're movies that mean something to me. They're personal favorites of mine, sentimental favorites of mine. So people like what they like. Um, doesn't bother me one way or the other. I think people's tastes are developed through their life experience. I think you can tell. That's what I've always believed is you can tell a lot about a person by the music they listen to, the movies they watch, the things that they like. You can tell a lot about them, I guess. Okay, Mayor. I cried over Clerks 3 as well, but terms because of how bad it was, I like parts of Clerk 3. Okay, yeah. No, I mean I get it. Clerks 3 was not great. Um, I thought it was not that funny. I thought the comedy was not the best. Like it wasn't on par with one or two. Um, but just just the fucking. I grew up with Dante and Randall, man. Like I grew up with those guys. Like, and now fucking Kevin Smith's killing them all. He's fucking killing them all off. I can't help but cry about it. Um, let's see, World War Z. Yeah, I didn't make my list. I got the Mondo Steelbook from Hamilton Book for like $7. I think I've seen that before. Yeah, I kind of agree with this scent. World War Z, the zombies. The book is great, but the movie does. Yeah, the movie sucks. Book is great. If they would have done, a serious take on that book, I think that movie would have been great. But they just bullshitted it all up. Uh, Sean says Edgar Wright is kind of a Tarantino. They know their stuff. Yeah, I think Tarantino and Edgar Wright are kind of on the same level there in terms of their movie knowledge and the shit they appreciate and love. But okay. Sure, I choked to death on this Dr. Pepper. Number one on my list. I will say there are some honorable mentions that I did not put on this list. Stuff I love. I will talk about that. I'm sure they'll be like, "Oh, you didn't put this on the fucking list." But personally, for me, this movie had such an impact on me when it came out. This movie was a game changer when it came out. This changed the landscape of the zombie movie going forward forever. Because literally, if you think about it, almost every zombie movie that was made after this movie took something, excuse me, took something from this movie. I'm talking about my number one favorite non-Romero zombie film. And people will say, it's not a zombie movie. It's an infected person's movie. It's a fucking zombie movie. And that is 2002's 28 Days Later. This movie changed everything. And this was during that, like, 2002. It was a time period in my life where I was discovering all these movies and discovering horror and going to the movies to see these horror movies. Everything that was coming out at the time. And when I saw 28 Days Later, it captured my imagination. The way, I mean, it was shot on digital for one, which is unfortunate because the Blu-ray looks like fucking dog shit. Um, because there's really no way to clean up a digital. I don't know, maybe there is, I don't know, but I don't know if they can really do much to upgrade the look of it because it was shot on what I think back then it was like a red camera. I think is what it was called, the red camera. I remember hearing that a lot back then. It was like, oh, this movie was shot on using a red camera. It doesn't cost anything. Um, but the way Danny Boyle directed, who would go on to win an Academy Award for Slumdog Millionaire, did Train Spotting before this. That was kind of the big breakout movie for Cillian Murphy. Um, the way that they were able to capture the end of the world, the feel of the end of the world, the just empty, quiet, eerie, like just the desolate streets of London that he portrays, like in the beginning of the movie, is haunting. Like there's nothing else. I don't know how they did it. I'm sure there's some digital trickery or something going on there, but it's perfect. To me, this movie changed the game when it comes. It was the movie that made zombies scary again. Yeah, they were fast and all that, and yeah, you can say like, oh, fast zombies, slow zombies. Like, yeah, I mean, technically they were just infected people. They weren't the dead coming back to life. But like I said, a zombie movie has, to me, there's more to it than just having zombies in it. It has to have the atmosphere that I love, that made me love zombie movies to begin with. I've always been fascinated. I talked about this with Will over the trip to Pittsburgh. I think we had this conversation. I said I've always had a fascination with the end of the world. I've always had a fascination with upsetting the apple cart. Taking people out of society and just I've always been fascinated. I think that's the most fascinating aspect of zombie movies to me is just the end of the world, of everything going to fucking hell. Um, and 28 Days Later does that in droves. Like it's beautiful. It's quiet in parts, but super loud and super intense in other parts. Um, Performances are great. I love what Danny Boyle is does with it. I mean, and to me, I mean, obviously, Shaun of the Dead is an absolute love letter to George. To me, 28 Days Later is just as much a love letter to George. Danny Boyle's love letter to George in the zombie genre, because he takes so much from George's movies. I mean, down to where they're at the grocery store shopping, to the happy music, and obviously inspired by Dawn of the Dead. The soldiers at the end in the house where they keep, Mailer, the zombie that they got chained up, that they're waiting to see how long it takes for him to starve to death. Because that's another aspect of this movie that I think is brilliant. That the zombies will eventually die because these zombies don't eat or anything. They're just rage. They're filled with rage. Um, that eventually they will starve and die out, and return back to normal life. Um, I don't remember what the fuck I was getting at on that, but I do. There's a lot of Romero influence in this for sure. There's also a lot of Danny Boyle took directly from him, just borderline. He did just rip it straight from. There's a movie from the '80s called. It's a British movie called The Quiet Earth. If you've never seen that, check it out. But there's literally shot for shot. Danny Boyle took directly from The Quiet Earth and put it into 28 Days Later. It's unmistakable. Like when I first saw The Quiet Earth, I had no idea about that. So when I first saw those shots, I was like, holy shit, that's straight out of 28 Days Later. Like I see where Danny Boyle got this shot from. Um, so it takes a lot from a lot of different movies, and it just, like I said, it created this whole new. Like I remember when this movie came out, 2002. There was such a buzz about it because it was a low budget movie from the UK, and people were saying like, "Oh my god, this is the scariest movie I've seen in years. It's the scariest movie since The Exorcist." That was always the quote for any movie back then. It's the scariest movie since The Exorcist. But everybody was talking about it. It was like, "Oh my god, this movie's it's a game changer." And it really was, because I swear, think about it. The Dawn remake does not happen the way it happens without 28 Days Later. When they saw those fucking fast scary fucking zombies. I mean, even slow zombies. Every zombie movie after 28 Days Later has taken some formula or something from 28 Days Later. Just the I call it the pterodactyl screech that every zombie does in every zombie movie now, where every zombie has to go "Rah!" Like they didn't do that before that, but 28 Days Later they're screeching like pterodactyls. And now every zombie movie has pterodactyl zombies. I'm gonna cut that and just put that on a loop one weekend. But yeah, I can't. When I first, it captured my imagination almost the same level as the first time I saw Dawn of the Dead, because this is, like I said, this is my generation. Um, this came. I remember going to the movies and seeing this. Me and my dad went to the movies to see this when it came out, the opening weekend. And me and my dad used to go. Well, we used to go to the movies all the time back in the day. He took me. We'd go see. I remember going to see Resident Evil when it came out. I went to see the Dawn remake when it came out, the Texas Chainsaw remake when it came out. Me and my dad, we always used to go to see these movies because A, I was too young to get into the R-rated movies, and B, he was cool like that. I miss going to the movies with my dad. Maybe that's something we need to do again. But I remember we went to the movies to see this, and it was a pretty packed house. Like I said, there was a lot of buzz about this movie when it came out, and it was a pretty full theater. I remember watching it, and as it was going on, I'm just loving every fucking minute of it. And I'm just blown away by what I'm saying. Like, because we hadn't these type of zombie movies did. Like I said, this movie made zombies really scary again and intense again. Like before that, it was just kind of like everything was still kind of limbo. I think the zombie genre was still reeling from thriller, and zombies are kind of a joke. These were not a fucking joke. And again, this is a movie that has a lot of emotion in it when when the father gets infected and starts to turn in the way that he starts shaking, and then he just kind of there's that quick shot of him where he just kind of looks at before he starts going into convulsions again. Like just little subtle things like that are just really effective in this movie. I remember sitting in the theater watching it, and when it was over, me and my dad got up, and everybody's getting up, and we're walking out of the theater, and there's this like Karen in front of us, like this lady, total straight Karen. She's going to talk to the manager, and she turns to her husband, and she was like, "That was probably the stupidest movie I've ever seen." And me and my dad just I looked up at my dad. My dad just kind of looked at me, and he looked at me, and he said, "I thought that was pretty fucking cool." I was like, "I did too." So we talked about it all the way home. My dad was like, he was like really impressed by that by 28 Days Later. So that's what I remember about that. My dad looking down at me after hearing that woman be like, "That was the stupidest fucking movie I ever saw." My dad just looking down at me and grinning and just being like, "I thought that was pretty fucking cool." So that's my big takeaway from the theater experience 28 Days Later. But yeah, I can't say enough. I love this movie. The soundtrack and the score of this is fantastic. It's one of my all-time favorites. When I was making my little movies in high school and aspiring to be the next George Romero, I used so much of the score and the soundtrack from this movie in everything that I did, just because it was perfect to me. There's so much about it. What are you guys saying? What do you think? Number one, 28 Days Later. Did I turn heel? Do I need to? I feel like I left out some movies. I feel like I'm about to hear some shit from a few people. So I'm gonna put my heel shades on, and we'll go from there. Let me go all the way back up here. I'm seeing a little bit of a mixed reaction here. Okay, Bonnie's with me. Yes. Okay. Sean called it 28 Days Later. Granny says, "I love how unpredictable this list was. Great stuff." Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, very. I mean, like I said, it's my list of my personal favorite non-Romero zombie films. Like if I did a separate list of like the best, objectively the best non-Romero zombie films, it would probably be complete. I mean, obviously, it would be a completely different list, but I wanted to do my personal, top 10. So, but yeah, I told Matt this the other day when he texted me. Matt actually, Landrum texted me the other day and was like, "Hey, if Cemetery Man isn't on this list, then you're dead to me." And I was just like, "Dude, it's a weird fucking list. That's all I can say." Sin says it's a cool one, but I like Shaun better. Yeah, like I said, it went back and forth because, like I said, Shaun of the Dead is a damn near perfect film to me. But I think in terms of like what it meant to me at the time growing up that I first saw it, it inspired me in so many ways, and it changed the zombie genre forever. Did 28 Days Later, and I don't think it gets talked about enough. Um, it doesn't get appreciated enough. I've heard people say like, oh, it kind of falls off by the third act, and maybe a little bit when they get to the house with the soldiers and stuff. But it's so I love the ending. There's such beautiful scenes in that movie, like when Cillian Murphy's character, when they're taking him out into the field or the pile of bodies, they're going to execute him and the other soldier, and they throw him on the ground. And you just think like the world has ended, the world is over, there's nothing left out there. He's given up hope, and he's laying there on the ground and he's looking up through the trees, and he just sees a jet, like an airplane flying in the sky. And it just kind of he realizes like there is still life outside of this somewhere. It kind of gives him a reason to keep fighting, type of thing. I don't know, just little stuff like that. I've always been, and the ending I always thought was great when they're setting up the hello when the plane flies over, because we all think they're trying to help, but they're just like, no, we're good down here in this little cottage in the middle of nowhere. Just don't bother us. Anyhow, John, what do you think, my man? Are you not a 28 Days Later fan? Mayor says that's why I didn't upgrade my DVD to Blu-ray for 20 days. Yeah, I tell you what though, this fucking Blu-ray goes for some big time fucking money. I had 2 copies of this. I kept this one, sold the other one. I bought it for $7 or whatever it was. I found it at, sold it on eBay. It ended up going for almost $60, I think, because it's out of print. It's old. It's from 2007. It looks like shit. It's not very good. I don't know if there'll ever be an improved transfer for it at some point, but it definitely needs something because it looks really, really bad. Um, Sean says no complaints. Cool. All right. Glad we're on the same page. 28 days. Paul Brooks says 28 days was shot on a Canon XL1. Great camera back in the day. I was what was it? There was something about they used to call it the red camera. They shot it on a red camera. I remember hearing that all the time back in the day, and I was always so curious. Matt, yeah, Zombie 90, even though Cemetery Man, dead to me. Just kidding. I've only ever seen Cemetery Man once, and I remember liking it a lot. I was very impressed with it. I liked it. But like I said, that's one that maybe give it a couple more years. Maybe I go back and rewatch a couple of times, and maybe it makes the list. But dude, Zombie 90. I mean, that's the funniest movie ever fucking made. I couldn't help it. The first 20 minutes, 28 Days Later is fantastic. The music for sure. Yeah, the Godspeed, You Black Emperor. That whole sequence there where he's walking through the streets of London and then goes to the church. One of the best opening. If you get past them, I've never been a big fan of the opening monkey scene where they let the virus loose or whatnot. But everything after that, I mean, it's one of my all-time favorite scenes. 28 Days was shot on a Canon the SD cam with cinematic prime lenses. I bought the upgraded XL2 a few years later for $4,500. Getting into filmmaking, still pre-HD, crazy money. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Cemetery Man. Got some Cemetery love here from Sean. Mayor says lots of the scenes were filmed very early in the morning, might have even been on a Sunday morning, and then there was some digital removal of cars on the overpass. It's crazy because it's such a big, like, vast shots in that movie that you look and it just looks quiet and empty and dead. It's brilliant shit. Matt says 28 Days Later is a great film. Seeing it in the theater was an awesome experience. We didn't have a lot of zombie films in theaters at the time. That's true. I mean, when Resident Evil came out, I was just like, oh my God, we got a new zombie movie. And then I saw it and I was just like, it's kind of a zombie movie, I guess. But 20 Days Later was, like I said, just took the zombie genre to a completely different level. But yeah, great experience, gritty and terrifying. Fully agree. The film had some painterly scenes with filters, probably to remove the harshness of the SD digital image. Yeah, I noticed there's a shot of like this big field with all these colorful flowers and stuff that is like a painting. Yeah, not sure where that's at. Shit, hang on. I think I froze. No, I'm good. John says, talking up 20 Days Later, this is like Hogan Bash at the Beach 96 tearing to me. Here I am, brother. I told you, I'm turning heel tonight. Come on now. 20 Days Later. It's a great fucking movie. Great movie. Great performances. But it's cool. It's cool. Like I said, I was prepared. I brought the shades. I was prepared for a little heat tonight. So bring it on. Did not Jeremy Renner star in that one as a sort? No, that was they did the sequel 28 Weeks Later, which was a fine movie. I remember going to the theater to see that, and I was saying, yeah, that's fine. The opening of that's really really good too. Um, but I don't think it's even on the same level as the original. Just my opinion. Will says Thriller would be my number one. However, it is a short. Okay. I remember you saying that Thriller scared the shit out of you when you were a kid. So, but I mean, that's not a bad number one. I mean, I guess that would count because I mean, that shit that they sold that, on VHS back in the day as a standalone thing. And I mean, it was like one of the biggest selling VHS uh, tapes back in the day, if I remember correctly. But I mean, that's iconic for sure. Sean says The Crazies, also by Romero, for sure had influence on 20 Days Later. Also Cronenberg's Rabid. Yeah, I mean, there's always that argument. It's like it's not a real zombie movie. They're infected people, and it's like, yeah, but it it takes place in a zombie universe. The people have been evacuated and quarantined, and there's dead bodies everywhere. And it's to me that's what makes a zombie movie more so than are they technically a zombie or because what and there's hordes of people trying to kill you. The scores for 28 Days and 28 Weeks are great. Yeah, I mean, John Murphy, I think, was the composer that did the score on this. The soundtrack's great. I mean, it's one of my all-time favorites. Mary says my mother wasn't a horror movie fan, but she shocked me one day. I found her watching 20 Days Later on FX. Yeah, that's when they played all the fucking time on FX back in the day, for sure. I remember that. Sean says, I loved your list. Don't agree on some, but this was so fun. Hey, man, I appreciate you stopping in, man. I'm glad you had fun with it. I had fun doing it. It's always a challenge for me to kind of sit down, and it's been fun going back and rewatching some of these because, like I said, I hadn't seen a lot of these in quite a while. So actually going back and rewatching a lot of them and seeing if they hold up or if they still make the list or not. It's always fun doing stuff like this. I want to do something a little different this week because I've been doing a lot of Living Dead weekend stuff for the past few weeks, so I was like, let's branch out a little bit. Let's talk about some other shit. But yeah, glad you enjoyed it, man. Hope to see you. Hope to see you in a future stream. Sin says, yeah, Renner gets burned up. Yeah. Will says Thriller would be mine. Okay, now I'm repeating shit here. I think. Okay, no, I think I'm all caught up here. Sin says they could do a modern upres with the AI tools of today. Yeah, I guess they could. Red was a much newer and fancier cam. The XL1s were red colored cams though. Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember them saying like, "Oh, it was shot on a red digital camera. It wasn't shot on film." And I'm a person I prefer things to be shot on film, but I think it worked just for the look of the film. It had just a different feel, a different look to it. I don't know. There's a cut of 28 Days later where Killian's character dies at the end. Yeah, there's I think it maybe on the Blu-ray they included it. But I know it's for sure on the DVD. They have there's like 2 or 3 different endings. 28 Days Later. I kind of like the one they have though. I mean, it's fine. But yeah, I do remember the one where he ends up dying, and Selena and Hannah end up walking through the hospital, and they're just like, "Well, we just got to keep going," or something like that. It's a little corny, but. Sean says Cockneys versus Zombies is fun as hell. Never seen it. And not another zombie movie. Might be the title is awesome. Fun too. Zombie comedies. That's the thing. There's a lot of zombie comedies because I mean there's a lot of funny shit you can do with the zombie genre. Hoping for 28 decades later, set in outer space. Fuck, we might get that. I mean, there's plans of a 28. What is it? 28 years later, I guess is the third one that they're doing. But it's Danny Boyle and I guess Cillian Murphy's in a part of it as well. So I don't know. I guess it's in production now. So am I excited for it? No, not really. There's not a lot I get excited about now, and I don't mean to be negative or like, oh, this sucks and everything sucks if it's not old. But like I just see so much stuff. Like I saw that, and this might be controversial too because I feel like everybody's like, "Oh, it's so great," but I saw that. I don't remember the name of the fucking movie. The one where the guy walks around a lot in a violent nature. That's what it's called. I saw that. I was like, "This is fucking horrible." Like it's just a guy walking around for 90% of the movie. Nothing fucking happens. I don't know. I'm just I don't see a lot that that gets me excited. Although Maxine coming out in a couple weeks, I'm really really looking forward to that one. Sean said, I didn't know you did live streams like this. I would definitely turn on my notifications for the future. Yeah, every weekend, man, or try to every weekend, every Saturday or Sunday, whenever I get a chance to. But yeah, that's awesome, man. I really appreciate you doing that. Yeah, definitely. If you're new to the channel, I know I'm at the end of the stream, we've been going for 2.5 hours, but I forget to say this shit every time. But hit that like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, notification button, all that fun shit. It means the world to me, guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me on a Saturday night and listening to me bullshit about zombie movies and George Romero and all the stuff I like to talk about. But I appreciate that, brother. These days, pretty much all stuff digital except for Tarantino and Nolan films. Yeah, I mean, hell, every theater projects in digital now, so that's probably why theaters are kind of going the way of the buggy whip factory. You know what I mean? Like, I just every time I go to the theater, there's less and less people. It's like shopping malls. It's like there's gonna be nothing left to do. We're just gonna be stuck in our houses, staring at our phones for too long. Sean says 28 years later. Okay, it's in production. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's Danny Boyle's back. He's a good filmmaker. And I don't know. I'm just kind of burnt out on a lot of the like legacy films and remakes and reboots and requels and all the other shit they got coming out these days. But I am looking forward to like Maxine. Long Legs is another new horror film coming out that I'm pretty interested in checking out. So there's some that I'm anything Ari Aster, anything Brandon Cronenberg, um, typically anything A24 I'll give a shot because I feel like their track records, but there's stuff I haven't liked, but for the most part, at least it's something different. You know what I mean? Mayor says would be a cool idea to have the next 28 movie from the infected's point of view. Like since they're infected, do they retain any of their memories? It's a good question. I don't know. They don't really ever get into that. I don't know if they get into that at all really in 28 weeks later because it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But I know in 28 days later they don't really get into that. Maybe with I don't know, maybe the Mailer character that the soldiers got chained up that kind of seeks revenge in the end or whatnot, kind of like Bub. It's basically their version of Bub. Um, but it's kind of turns out to be the hero in the end. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really ever. I don't think there's any of that that I recall. But that would be interesting. Maybe get into more of the detail of the psyche of you know what it's like to be one of these infected, rage-filled people, creatures, whatnot. Man, I appreciate you hopping on. I hope I'm not dead to you. I hope we can still be friends after this. Hopping off this is a fun one. When you check out Ritual House, start with our first one, Turkish Leather. Okay, I'll write that down, sir, because I will definitely check. I've been in the mood lately to check out discover a lot of new music, and so Turkish Leather, Ritual House. Yeah, I'll let you know, man. Let you know what I think. Turkish Leather. I was about to write Turkish Howls, but okay. I'll check it out. Appreciate you stopping in, man. Always good to have you in the room, and hope I didn't disappoint you too much. But yeah, there were some titles that I love, like City of the Living Dead was one that just barely just missed the list for me, just because I like it. There's a lot to it that I love. It's one of the best scores, one of my favorite scores of any horror movie. It's probably number 11 on my list, but anyhow, it is what it is. I had to make room for Zombie 90, so give me a break. Sean says I love Ty West films, so Maxine should be awesome. Yeah, I've been impressed with everything that I've seen from Ty West. Love, I liked X. I love fucking Pearl. Like Pearl was probably right up there, probably the best horror film I've seen quite some time. Um, so yeah, really looking forward to Maxine when it comes out. Hope Argento has one more masterpiece coming. I don't know, man. I will say that Argento, the movie Vortex from Gaspar Noe or No or whoever you pronounce his name. Argento's like the star of that movie. It's like his first leading role, and I don't know if you like slower paced stuff. I mean, it's interesting just to see Argento acting at this age, but he does a really good job in it, surprisingly. Like the father could still warn his daughter and the rest of the group get away when he's first infected. How much of his memory is retained after his fling? Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I do love that scene though. I love that the character, the guy that plays him, has been in a bunch of shit ever since. What's his name? Brendan Gleeson. I when he gets the fucking blood in the eye and he's just like, get away from me, and the way he starts convulsing, and I don't know, that scene's always a powerful scene for me. Um, but yeah, that's a good point. Oh yeah, if they go into it a little more in depth like that in another one, I'd be kind of interested in that. But I just have a feeling that it's just going to be, just more of a action type movie, where shit's just happening to happen and go from, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Matt, you're not dead to me, brother. Taste is yours. Art is subjective. Different perspectives are what makes conversations interesting. 100% agree. 100% agree. But I'm glad I'm not dead to you. I just have weird tastes, man. Outside of Romero, I like some weird shit. I think probably the most like controversial one. I was thinking like maybe The Dead Hate the Living or one of those. People would be like, "The fuck is this guy talking about?" But man, a lot of you guys really fucking hate The Dead Don't Die. Surprise. Not surprised. That's I understand that I'm one of the only people that like that movie, but it's so fucking out there. Again, if you haven't seen it, check it out. You might like it, you might not. I don't know. But there's quite a few Romero references and callbacks in that movie that I think you might appreciate. Yeah, Irreversible. That's a fun movie to watch with the wife and kids. Not that I've done that, but I mean, Jesus Christ. 19 Living Guitardi, what's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for your list. Looking forward to checking out 5 through 10. I haven't before. P.S. What do you think of What do you think of the copy of City of the Living Dead you recently picked up? Actually, just watched it today. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. The thing is, though, there's so many different releases of City of the Living Dead that have come out over the past 5 years. From like Cauldron. I think Arrow did one here in the States. The one I got's from the UK. It's the UK release. Looks fantastic. I mean, the transfer is really good. It's got. I should have grabbed it. I could have showed it off, but it's got some here. I'll go ahead and grab it real quick. Fuck it. I didn't put it on my list. I owe it to show it off a little bit, give it some love. All right. I'm gonna try not to go 4 hours tonight, but now we're showing shit off. So, but yeah, I mean, it's got a giant slipcase on it. That's pretty cool. But it's got the box, the hard box, 4K. It just comes with a 4K. It doesn't have a Blu-ray with it, so that was one thing. But it's got all these. Here, let me move this mic. It's got all these little cards, front and back, images from the film. The drill scene, which is a ridiculous scene. I mean, it's completely nuts. But again, it's Fulci just saying, "Hey, I need a reason to do this, so I'm gonna do it." So yeah, it comes with all these little cards and shit. It's really nice, pretty cool stuff. I don't know what that is. I think that's an advertisement for something coming soon, but um, as well as little poster action as well. It's got the which man, I love the smell of these things. Like the books, like it comes with a little book too. Got the little book with stories and interviews and everything about the movie. But they always have this distinct smell. It's almost kind of like Play-Doh. You know how Play-Doh smells like the most delicious thing in the entire world? That's kind of the smell of these things. Anyway, I'll show this poster off, and then we'll talk about Play-Doh. That's what I really want to talk about. So yeah, you got the arrow art here, and then it's the old school City of the Living Dead art here. Pretty cool little poster. But yeah, not a bad. I think I paid $35 for it. I picked it up at Living Dead Weekend from Orbit, I believe. It's a nice little collection. It's got tons of features and shit on it. Like I said, I don't know how much is different than a lot of the other releases that have come out here recently, but it's the one. This is the newest edition that I had. I had the Blue Underground Blu-ray that came out years back, so I just kind of wanted to upgrade to a nicer version. But I'm happy with it. It's a pretty killer set here. Since as weird is good, many people have boring lists. That's one thing too I took into account. I was like, I could talk about, all these movies that everybody else talks about all the time, or I can talk about these movies that I like, and I don't hear a lot of people talk about it anymore, and I don't know if people have seen. So maybe I can turn some people on to some of my my weird tastes. I don't know if this is common, the giant slip covers. But I was I don't think I've seen one like this before. But I don't buy a whole lot of like new big money physical media releases. Like I buy a lot of shit secondhand. But this just came out this year, so I don't know. Maybe this is something new. I don't know. Pretty awesome set though. Mayor says, for a second, I thought you were going to say The Dead Don't Die in Dallas instead of The Dead Don't Die. What is The Dead Don't Die in Dallas? I know there's an old zombie flick from like the 70s, I think, called The Dead Don't Die, but I'm talking about the one with Sturgill Simpson. Oh, the dead don't die. I'm just a huge Sturgill Simpson fan, too, so that probably plays a role into why I like that movie so much. Sean says, where did the French go? High Tension, Inside, Martyrs, Frontiers, etc. They were about to take over. Yeah, there was like that weird period there where the French horror was kind of a hot thing. Like I think. Well, High Tension, that was a pretty big hit in the States, but I think the rest of those were either remade or by the U.S. And when the U.S. when Hollywood's remaking your foreign film, it must have been pretty fucking good, because they love to fuck up anything good, anything they get a chance to. Mayor says, if I didn't already have the 4K of City from Cauldron, I would have definitely gotten the Arrow set. Hoping Arrow will do a 4K of Zombie, then I'd upgrade my Blu-ray. Yeah, I've heard that Cauldron transfer is the best one out there. I don't know how it compares to this one. This one looks really, really fucking good. I haven't seen the Cauldron one yet, but that was kind of the one that was on my radar before I picked this one up. But yeah, so I think you're okay with that Cauldron set. But this is a nice set. Like I said, if you're upgrading from like I said, I just had the Blue Underground Blu-ray for years and years, so needed to upgrade to something. Saw this, I don't know. Something about this movie is so appealing in a weird way. The gore, and like I said, you could just smell it. Like when the girl's puking her guts up in anatomically correct order. The drill scene. Poor Bob gets drilled in the head. Am I from the Pittsburgh area? No, unfortunately not. I feel like I am, but I'm not. I'm from the Western Kentucky area. But I love Pittsburgh. That's kind of become my home away from home. I try to get back there at least once a year, if not a couple times a year. I love Pittsburgh. Hopefully one day, my dream, like I've said before, some people dream of retiring to a beach house in Florida, or some people dream of retiring to a cabin in the mountains. I dream of retiring in a little house in Evans City somewhere. So maybe someday, um, but no, love Pittsburgh. Love going back there every chance I get. It's a great city, great people. Yeah, the French Extreme movies. Mayor says the dead don't die is full drag queen zombies, full of drag queen zombies. In the one from the 70s, because like I said, the dead are there. No, there's not a bunch of drag queen zombies in the dead don't die. I don't know. I'm confused, guys. Turning full hill on y'all. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, Martyrs was remade. In Dallas, they came up with an injection to cure AIDS, but instead of getting zombies. Oh, okay. Nope, haven't seen that one. It kind of sounds like that may be what Queens of the Dead is going to be, but I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think I'm gonna. If we cover that story, I will turn full heel tonight. I think because I'm just tired of, you know. I'm sure George wouldn't give a shit if he was here. I'm sure he'd be like, "Oh yeah, go for it," but I don't know. Just leave the man be, leave his work be. Move to Braddock. I would. I'm not. I grew up in the fucking hood. All right, like I grew up in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Like Hopkinsville, locally in the West Kentucky area, is known as Little Chicago. Like I grew up. Like I told the story. Like I I remember having tickle fights on the bus in kindergarten with a guy who grew up to kill two people and is now spending the rest of his life in prison. Um, I grew up in the hood, so Braddock don't it doesn't scare me. And plus, there's something just charming about Braddock. Every time I go through Braddock, there's some kind of community thing going on. People helping other people. Like, eh, I like Braddock. Sean says, "Cool, I'm Pittsburgh here. Awesome. Cool to watch movies with. Hey, have me over next time I'm in Pittsburgh. Give me a place to stay. I'll bring a bunch. We'll watch them. What part of Braddock are you from? Or are you saying Braddock F ya? Or are you saying fuck Braddock or Braddock fuck yeah? I'm saying Braddock fuck yeah. I'm a fan of Braddock. Mayor says Dead Don't Die in Dallas is fairly recent. I got it from the Dollar Tree. I gotta find these Dollar Trees. Have all these movies. Dead Don't Die in Dallas. I've never even heard of that. Anyway, coming up on 3 hour mark here. I think we're gonna call it that. I don't think I can do 4 hours tonight. I don't have a partner with me to carry me through it tonight. It's harder doing these streams when it's just me, when it's just solo, because I just gotta talk and talk and talk. Because I hate dead air. Um, it freaks me out. I feel like if I'm not talking, people are like, "What the fuck's wrong with him? He's freezing." Okay, Rankin adjoining to Braddock. Okay, where that's at. Yeah, I was just in your neck of the woods for a Living Dead weekend. We drove through Braddock and up through Braddock Hills, looking at locations for Martin and all the Booba stuff. Lightning over Braddock and whatnot. The director of Dallas previously made ticked off trannies with knives. Okay. So he's got a pattern there, I guess is what you're saying. He has a style. Okay, heck yeah, okay. Since says Braddock was sad and eye opening, but I'm glad I went. Yeah, I mean, so I watched. I did watch that documentary that Tony Buba and Tom Dubinsky did, called "We Are Alive," the fight to save the Braddock Hospital. I did watch that the other night, and it really stood out to me. It really hit me. Like Tony Buba does a really good job of capturing this and portraying it in a lot of his short films and a lot of his work. Just the fighting spirit of Braddock. Like Braddock, man, those people for years and years and years, ever since they started shutting down those steel mills, those people have been losing left and right. They never get a break. They never win. Um, but they don't stop fighting. They're always down to organize and fight to keep what they got. But and it's just like it never turns out for them. They never win. But I feel like that's Braddock's new, or the way Tony, kind of portrays it in his work. It's kind of Braddock's new export is community organizing and protesting and all that shit. Um, but yeah, I'm I have a soft spot in my heart for Braddock. I'll say that. Love your Booba films. Tony is good. Just watch Lightning over Braddock. Ooh, I'm gonna have to get your thoughts on that next week. Since, like I said, Sint's gonna be on the channel next week. We're gonna talk and chop it up. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to get Sint to do a little demonstration of what he does on his channel. Some of the instrumentation and stuff that he experiments with on his channel should be fun. But yeah, I can't wait to get your thoughts on that. I'm hoping you enjoyed it. Hope I didn't steer you in the wrong direction, but yeah, what the hell. Thank you. All right. Oh, still not that down. All right, so we're right at the 3-hour mark, guys. I'll stick on here for another couple of minutes. I'm about ready to hop off, and I guess I can take the hill shades off and bid you all a proper adieu tonight. But I had fun. I had fun with this. I haven't done a list or like a countdown list in a while. So it was kind of fun going back and trying to, adjust the list in my head of what went where, and why does this make the list? Why does this not make the list? Are there any movies that I left out that you guys are kind of surprised that didn't make my top 10? I know that, I mean, there's, Cemetery Man and City of the Living Dead, and some of them, like, Fulci's, like, The Beyond and House by the Cemetery, like, those were always kind of sort of categorized as zombie flicks, but I've never really seen them that way. Like, same for The Evil Dead. Like, I've always seen that kind of categorized as a zombie flick, but I've never really considered Evil Dead to be a zombie movie. Reanimator is a good one. Like, I like Reanimator, but you know, I wouldn't. It's not a Romero zombie movie, even though it's supposed to be non-Romero. But you know what I mean. Like, it's not that style of zombie flick. I guess that's kind of what I was going for in my list, maybe. Another great show. Have a great night. Thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you. I'll be talking to you soon. Glad you hung out. Mayor says I'll hit you up on Instagram. I'll send you some of the trailers for the movies I mentioned. Please do. It's my Instagram's weird. I think are we friends on Instagram? I don't remember. It's at Barnstormer _ or something like that. I don't know. I'm sure I'll find you somewhere. So fun. Thank you so much. Since says thanks for another good one. I have some movies to catch up on now. Yeah. I'd like to get your opinions on some of those, but always good having you in here as always, my man. Yeah, Evil Dead, definitely more of a possession film for sure. But when I was younger, and the early days of the internet, and I was looking up lists of like, okay, zombie movies that I need to watch, Evil Dead was always on there, and I watched. I was like, yeah, it's not really a zombie movie. What the hell? Do I like Jolly? Yeah, I'm Argento is probably my second favorite filmmaker of all time. But there's a lot I haven't seen, to be honest with you. There's a lot of those yellow films that I need to go back and rewatch. Like a lot of the Bava stuff, I need to really go back and watch. I'm a fan of them in concept. I need to see more. I need to see more of them. Okay, here's a couple of interesting. One Cut of the Dead I have not seen. I have not seen One Cut of the Dead. I've heard of it. It's one I do need to check out. Train to Busan, that's an interesting one because that's one that would probably be like right on the outside of my list. That one got me. That one hit me hard as a father. Like at the end of the Train to Busan, like broke my heart. Like that's one I cried at. I'll admit, I cried at the end of Train to Busan. That's a great movie. Awesome movie. That's one I've been wanting to go back and watch again. For sure. Okay, One Cut of the Dead is fantastic. Oh, yeah, I'll have to track down and watch it. Again, One Cut is great, very clever. Train is cool. Yeah, Train to Busan, like I said, it hit me as a father. Like that hit me hard. But yeah, One Cut of the Dead is definitely on my list of shit to watch. I think that's what I was thinking of earlier when I was talking about Juan of the Dead. I might be getting those two mixed up. Does One Cut of the Dead, is that the one that just got the new Steelbook Walmart release here recently? That's the one then that's the one I was thinking of that I saw that I should have picked up. Maybe I'll go back and see if they still have it. I doubt it, but anyway. Appreciate it, everybody. It's been fun. Had a good time tonight. Good to see everybody in here. Good to see some new names. Sean, Bonnie, it's good seeing you. Good to get your input. Hope you guys had a good time with this. Like I said, I hope I didn't turn heel on too many people. Hope I'm still friends with some folks, but really, really appreciate you guys stopping in. There's a lot of Alfa Romeros. Are there? I don't know. Like I've seen. See, I fucked up when I went with that name on YouTube, because now when you type in Alfa Romero on YouTube, it takes you to like the Alfa Romeo cars. So yeah, it is what it is. But it's actually here. Let me find it real quick for you, man. Let me make sure. Because like I said, I'm just now starting. It'd be under my real name. It's at AT Barnstormer, BARN Stormer _ that's my Instagram. If anybody else wants to follow me, that's my Instagram. Be more than happy to. Like I said, I don't do too much on it, but I'm starting to try to do a little bit more here lately. So it's at AT, not the at, but at AT Barnstormer _ and that should be me. Yeah, I'm glad you got to stop by. It's, always love hearing from new folks. Awesome show. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Hope to see you in some future ones. And hey, like I said, next time in Pittsburgh, maybe we'll like I said, most of the people that's one of the big reasons why I do this channel is meeting folks and making new friends, and like Synth and so many people that you meet at Living Dead Weekend. Robert, Zed of the Dead. So yeah, next time I'm in Pittsburgh, man, hope maybe we'll bump into each other somewhere. Yeah, you have to correct the YouTube search each time for a. Yeah, I know. I just got to get bigger. That's the thing. I just got to get more fame. I got to get bigger than the. I got to get bigger than the car. So that'll never happen. But that's my goal. I have to make the Alfa Romero name bigger than the Alfa Romeo name. But it is what it is. Hey, Stugas. Yeah, a little late, about to hop off, man. But appreciate it if you checked out the replay. I'd love to get your thoughts on it on my list, because I think I ruffled a few feathers tonight, but we'll see. Okay, cool, awesome, Mayor. Yeah, add me. I'll add you back. But appreciate it, everybody. I'm hop off. I need a cig. So it's been fun. I'll catch you guys next weekend. Like I said, I'm gonna have Synth Attic on next weekend. Talk about Romero, and that'll probably branch off into 1,000 other conversations. So it should be a fun time. So I'm really looking forward to that. But until then, guys, you guys have a great rest of the night, a great rest of the week. And as always, stay scared.